that music. What is that art?
Hello, my gay friend. How are you?
I'm well, Gay Dollar. How are you?
Wonderful.
Good to talk to you again.
We already got Finatra in the house, son.
Hey, Finatra. Send him the link.
I pinned it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. I see it.
So, who do you think's going to become Pope?
Who do I think? Pope. Oh, the black one. The black bishop, I hope.
Interesting.
But that's probably a long shot.
I don't know a single person up for any of it.
I know one, and he's black, and he's from Africa. He's a bishop.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you were telling me you backed the comic book earlier?
I did. I backed The Buckler on FundMyComic.com.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I know. I like Dillard. He's been good to me.
Yeah, he's a good Mexican.
Yeah. Okay for a Mexican. Yeah.
Mexicano.
Fund My Comic is a little clunky to use. There's a lot of buttons you gotta push.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Ooh, we got a Wix commercial, everybody.
Big ideas.
Yeah, I wanted to sit here for a little bit before we get on our topic.
That's
Talk
cool.
about random things. I have saved a few humorous videos here we can go over before we hit our topics.
Saved over what?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. How have get rid of these, sorry. Get rid of a bunch of bookmarks I don't need. Get rid of that. Boom shakalaka. You ever put things on bookmarks and you're like, why did I even put this on here? Of course. I guess like in the moment, like I would think, oh, I'm probably gonna stream today, and then I'm like, I don't know. So did you know our last stream today that Pope died? That got blocked worldwide.
Oh, that's why I couldn't find it. Because I know you're on YouTube, and I went to your channel, and that live stream was gone.
Yeah, what did we even talk about on there?
Oh, who knows?
I just deleted it. I'll probably delete this one after tonight as well. Save my channel. I
say
don't-
anything we want to about whoever we want to.
Yeah. Right, so let's
So, are you going to back the Buckler or Mighty Golden Patriot
I am not backing comic books anymore.
anymore? So you just stopped.
Yep.
Done.
Done.
Hmm. How'd that happen? What happened?
Everyone,
Did it just?
everyone here is retarded, so I'm like, it's a waste of money. So I decided to stop backing. It was the best decision I've probably made in a while.
Really? You're drinking again? Oh, you're playing video games again? You're going golfing again?
You're eating again?
Today, a woman in jail accused of killing her own husband, and she apparently told detectives that
That is so true. Oh, Kitty! The Kitty. Hi, hi, Kitty. Hi, Kitty.
Anyway, that cracked me up. Oh, who's he got? Got whack ass in the house, Richie Poo Poo, and Phil. She.
Hail Kitty. Hail Kitty. Hail Kitty.
Oh, did you see this one right here? San Francisco.
Go, baby. That's bien.
Keep going, you're good.
What, poop?
Oh my God. Is this real life?
Lala, why are you, walk in front of me?
Cindy, is it?
Isn't that shit crazy, bro?
That is nuts. That little girl is on what is she on a scooter or something?
With all those crack motherfuckers.
And her, yeah, it should be a wholesome scene down Mayberry Street or in Mayberry. But what city was that? What city was that?
San Francisco, dog.
Oh my God, they should know better. They should be better. They should do better.
I can't. Down here, where I live, there's no way that would fly. I just can't understand it. It doesn't make sense how these areas got like this. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Oh,
Watching this as I watch peeps burn their wallet tree. You know, I never really got into the whole meme coin thing. I don't know anybody who has, besides like maybe Mike S. Miller, maybe. So,
hello, Richie Duke.
this is another. So, again, I still want to burn some time before we hit our topics. I'm trying to like front run the YouTube timer before I start showing clips and get destroyed. So, anyway, Pete Hegseth today signed a policy in the Pentagon that they're going to reduce the generals from 44 down to like a very small number. So listen to this. I thought this was kind of interesting.
Back with more DoD reforms. This one is General and Flag Officer Reductions. That's the official title. My title is Less Generals, More GIs. It's a historic one, and it's in keeping with President Trump's commitment to achieving peace through strength. We're going to shift resources from bloated headquarters elements to our warfighters.
That makes
Let's
sense.
take a bit of a trip down memory lane. In history, when we were fighting across the globe during World War II, we had a force that was 12 million strong. For that 12 million man element, we had 17 4- and 5-star generals. Today, we have 2.1 million service members, with 44 four-star.
Right. So during the war, we had how many? 17 or 44?
You want to hear that again? Like, I didn't
Yeah,
know this.
Yeah.
Let's take a bit of a trip down memory lane. In history, when we were fighting across the globe during World War II, we had a force that was 12 million strong. For that 12 million man element, we had 17 4- and 5-star generals.
17.
Today, we have 2.1 million service members with 44 4-star and flag officers. So it used to be a ratio of 1 general to 6,000 troops. Today, it's 1 general to 1,400. More generals and admirals does not equal more success. Now, this is not a slash and burn exercise meant to punish high-ranking officers. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Too many
This
chefs.
has been a deliberative process, working with the Joint Chiefs of Staff with one goal: maximizing strategic readiness and operational effectiveness by making prudent reductions in the general and flag officer ranks. So there's 2 phases here. Phase 1, we're looking at our current service structure. And in phase 2, it's a strategic review of the Unified Command Plan. Now, this is going to
So Richie said 14 to 44 Gs.
Yeah.
So during World
Was it
War I,
1 to
World War II,
6,000, 1 to 1,400? That's too many generals, too many chefs in the kitchen.
way too damn many.
Yeah. And what do they
Too
do?
many.
What are
What
they
is
doing?
it? Too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
Yeah.
So like,
Sounds good to me. 17, that's enough, I would think.
yeah. Okay. There's only 2 million. 2.5 million active duty people. And then you got contractors, maybe 500,000, right? So maybe 3 million at max. And you need 44 people to handle that? That doesn't make sense. That's like, even in a corporation, that doesn't make sense. It's bad management.
Right. I don't think they've ever had to justify their existence in the military.
I just want to know when we started bloating
Well, maybe
these
they
damn generals.
to be, we think, the most comprehensive review since the Goldwater-Nichols Defense Reorganization Act of 1986. That was a generational change in combat command structures, planning, training, geographic areas of responsibility, mission, and operational responsibilities. So as I said, it's going to happen in 2 phases. The result of phase 1 is a minimum of 20% reduction of 4-star and flag officers for active duty elements, and a minimum of 20% reduction of general and flag officers in the National Guard Bureau. Phase 2 will produce a minimum of an additional 10% reduction of overall general and flag officers throughout the DoD, in conjunction with a realignment of the Unified Command Plan. It's going to be done carefully, but it's going to be done expeditiously. We confront a complex and evolving threat environment. We cannot afford to wait. We got to be lean and mean. And in this case, it means general officer reduction.
So 30% reduction in generals.
That's a good thing, I think.
So what would that bring it to? So 40, so the 35, 37. So that's not a lot, but I guess that's decent.
Calculus, 44. No.
Someone do the math in their head really quick.
30. No. Yeah, 30 divided by 44. 68 generals? No.
Yeah. So did you see David Portnoy? I don't watch this man speak because I saw him try to nail in a nail with a hammer one day. And if you talk about a gay billionaire.
Oh, he was, doing his patio up or something.
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
Anyway, he said he's going to send his employees to Auschwitz
For
for showing a fuck the Jews sign.
Right.
I was
Gonna
like,
give him a free trip.
this was my reply. Wait, where'd it go?
I don't know.
Why did I do that?
Larry Cohen, Cat's Garfunkel.
Ya es número 1 en los rankings de la colectividad.
Fischbein Friedman, Barenboim.
Un Bareneke de rock que sacude tus oídos.
Smulewicz, Roisman Frenkel.
Es el éxito que está sonando en todas las fiestas y cumpleaños de 13.
Goodman fuerte come el baum.
Kosher Waters.
Hey, Greenbank, vilken zijn jongoy?
Are they saying anything, or is it just
Stupid
Terrible.
ass, man. Jesus Christ.
that's funny?
Anyway,
Oh, today.
I thought that was hilarious. All right,
Hey, Terrence,
we got
look
another
at
breaking
this
news.
guy. How can you not like this guy?
So, did you hear Trump is going to tariff Hollywood movies 100% for being made outside of America?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
The movie tariffs.
Yeah, the movie tariffs, what they've done is other nations have been stealing the movie-making capabilities from the United States. And I said to a couple of people, what do you think? I've done some very strong research over the last week, and we're making very few movies now. Hollywood is being destroyed. Now, you have an incompetent, grossly incompetent governor that allowed that to happen, so I'm not just blaming other nations, but other nations, a lot of them, have stolen our movie industry. And I'm saying, if they're not willing to make a movie inside the United States, then we should have a tariff on movies that come in. And not only that, governments are actually giving big money. I mean, they're supporting them financially. So that's sort of a threat to our country in a sense. And it's been a very popular thing.
Wonderful.
So, what movies have we been watching that weren't made by Hollywood?
All of them. Like all the Marvel movies are made in England.
Yeah, that's where
Like
the
Spider-Man, Doomsday, all those films. The new Supergirl film is being made in fucking Scotland and England.
right. Well, sometimes Hollywood-based productions have to go overseas to film. So
Yes,
saying
sometimes. Yeah, that's a
you're
joke.
saying this is a European-based studio that are making.
No. They are, so
It's still based in
Hollywood has gotten so egregious that it's actually not conducive to make movies in Hollywood anymore. That's why they're making movies in Tennessee and Georgia. But what's going on is you have nation states like the United Kingdom, like Serbia and some other areas that are like enticing these studios to make their entire film in their country because the government itself is giving American studios like 30, 40, 50% of what it costs to make the film.
That's a pretty good deal. Why wouldn't you
It's
take
a
that
huge
deal?
deal, but this is America. One of its best exports is movies. And if you start making like Spider-Man isn't even American. The guy is from fucking London.
Two of them were. That
Well,
Andrew,
I don't count those other ones.
Andrew
This
Garfield
is before all
was
that was happening.
What is he, an Australian or a Brit? I can't remember which.
Yeah, Georgia, I think, is the number one producing. Georgia produces more movies and shows than Hollywood because it's gotten so goddamn dumb in California to make a film, which is like 2.5 Georgias. And they can't get it together.
What are
They're
they
driving
making?
it-
Are they making movies that are in the theaters or
Hollywood,
movies
I
that
don't
are on
think
a
really.
streaming
You
service?
would have
or
to look. You would have to look. Oh yeah, FOMC. Okay, this is the pizza. So supposedly there's rumors going around that Cardinal Pizza Balla
Mhm.
might be in contention for like being a hardhead during the voting. And
Have they voted yet?
he said private sources saying that there's a bunch of homosexuals in the Vatican,
Really?
and they've gotten rid of at least one of the homosexual rings in the Vatican.
Huh. I believe it. I believe there's that sort of degeneracy going on amongst
Pizza palla.
holy men.
Saving the children. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
To me, he don't look like a diddler.
Well,
He looks like someone to like take your fingernails off, to be honest.
oh, a torturer,
Yeah.
like an inquisitor.
I called him a champion.
So have they voted yet? When are they voting for the Pope?
May 7th, I think, is when it starts.
Oh, that's a couple days. Okay.
Yep, the day the FOMC here in America.
It could take days, but it's been a minute since the Pope was buried, so they could have already decided. And the vote on the 7th is just a formality. And what color smoke?
Yeah.
White smoke will come out of the chimney. Oh, my
Did you hear this one? Dog.
shit. No, but I do. I want to.
You ready?
Yes.
Have you ever heard them say "if" since we've been sitting here for I don't know how long?
Yes, I've been taking a tally.
Oh, okay. Can you show us? Can you tell us what the tally is?
More than 35 times, the Republican witnesses and Republican members of the committee have used the word "if."
Thank you so much for that. Because honestly, if they would continue to say "if" or Hunter and we were playing a drinking game, I would be drunk by now. Because I promise you, they have not talked about the subject of this, which would be the president. But let me tell you something that was so disturbing as I walked in to this chamber today. As I prepared, I said, what is the crime?
So apparently this weekend, she actually did a speech at a black university.
Love her.
And it was fucking cringe. She was talking about picking up chairs and throwing them at white people in this black college graduation.
That's always a good idea. Were there any white people in the arena at the time, and did they get chairs thrown at them?
I don't know.
They were all black. Everybody in the audience was black when she said that.
So did you know Marco Rubio
Pimp
is now in charge of national security,
I heard
USAID. He's a chief archivist
He's
for the United States, and he's the Secretary of State.
And Secretary. So Elon went in there and said, Marco Rubio, look at all this shit. What can you do? It's like the USAID. I think all the shit that Musk found, Rubio understands. He's a fart smeller. He's assistant to the president for the national security. Okay, that's good because he's also the Secretary of State and archivist of the United States. So he holds all the information. He's got the archives by the bowl.
Yeah. And there's
like
the archive, the librarians of the military and the librarians of the federal government, ungodly powerful people. You wouldn't think a librarian would be straight gangster, but they are.
Gangster. Is there a library mafia? Really?
Well, the last what's her face who ran the CIA? What's that bitch's name? Gina Haspel.
Oh.
She was a librarian before she ran the CIA. So.
Okay.
So. All right, I think that was all I have on there. So, oh yeah. Did you hear that George Clooney's wife might be banned from America?
Sanctions over ICC case against Netanyahu. Why? Is she Israeli? Is she a Jew? Emil.
I think she's Italian. I think.
Could be banned from the U.S. under Trump's sanctions over what is ICC?
So they're trying to get the International Criminal Court. They're trying to disband it in The Hague.
Again.
There's been a secret initiative to get rid of that thing. Because it's like essentially the Supreme Court of Europe and Africa and anyone else who has trade deals with them. And that shit's got to go. It's got to go. But she's a lifetime member in the Council of Foreign Relations.
International, but not in the United States.
And even Hillary Clinton, when she was in the Council of Foreign Relations, she only got a 5-year membership. So that's George Clooney's wife, by the way.
in a case against Netanyahu, like a
Yeah,
legal.
because Brussels, London, and Rome are using the International Criminal Court to come after Netanyahu because they want to arrest the entire government of Israel.
Why would they want to do?
Because they're doing what they want to do and they're having fun and no one's stopping them. This is another interesting fact. In the 2025 is the highest year. What's up, Anthony? In recorded history of the most millionaires leaving Britain.
Leaving the country altogether.
Yeah, going back to like World War I, World War II. Per capita, the cash that you could have, whatever it was back then without inflation. The most.
Where are they going? Where are all the millionaires going? Or billionaires?
Hopefully they're coming here. I would like them to come here. And I think that was it. That was it.
So who left so far? Ellen DeGeneres. Did Rosie leave?
Yeah,
Rosie
but she's
O'Donnell?
back.
Oh, God bless her. There's one other that I can't remember. Oh, Dylan Mulvaney. He left.
Dylan Mulvaney left. What?
England. Went to England. Be a citizen.
Really?
He's a
I
girl.
know when Hillary Clinton
Why
got
not?
in trouble. When Hillary Clinton got in trouble here, she became a professor at a college in Ireland.
She probably has to be one of the most shrewd women on the face of the planet, kind of next to Nancy Pelosi. I mean, they're both bitches, but
Yeah.
they have a way of getting things done, those two.
Do they?
And keeping their hands, yeah.
All right, now that we've gone over a little bit of that, do you want to get philosophical tonight? Philosophical.
I'll try.
All right. I kind of wanted to go over a few of the things that would be a part 2 of the stream that was deleted the day the Pope died.
What were we talking about?
Yeah, but exactly. And so I don't even remember half the shit we talked about.
Well, I took notes.
I know we talked a lot about the goggles and all that shit. That was kind of cool.
Those my notes for.
And I've been trying to keep my.
Looking for one, feel like half the meal, but twice the cleanup.
So this is kind of annoying. Like I'm like being so careful not to break these YouTube rules, but somehow I keep doing it.
The three-bodied problem.
Yeah. So
that's when we were talking about space. James Tunney, Mizmir, Pharaonic thoughts.
Okay, so let's go over. No, I don't want to do this. Do I want to do this? I don't want to do this. We'll do that another night. So we'll do. So I have because a lot's been going on in this space. I have garnered 2 philosophical approaches. One of them is from a crazy guy from the 70s, which was quite interesting, but he had a lot of interesting things to say, and he also had a lot of crazy things to say. So I'm not saying, if you like philosophy, to go on this Alan Watts trip, but we will. I'm good. So I want to share a little bit of what Alan Watts says, and I also want to share a little bit of what what's his name? Let me pull it up real quick. Napoleon Hill. So Alan Watts was a dude born in the early 1900s, and he got to watch America go through World War I and World War II, and he grew up in that philosophical era. So he's one of the philosophical guys who garnered the world through World War I, World War II, managed to live through the 60s, and then died in early 70s. and that's why I name my, how do you become Neo? So I want to postulate these two philosophical thinkers. And so this is one approach. So this is right as hippie life was blossoming, but unfortunately
so to speak, flower children blossoming.
Yeah, so this picture has nothing to do with it, but I just want to say he died. Alan Watts is a cool guy. He is definitely strange, but he has some really fantastical things that he said. So here's one of them.
Awakening, a quiet solitude that follows them like a shadow. It is not a loneliness imposed from the outside, but a deep understanding that makes ordinary companionship difficult. Most people are bound together by mutual illusions, by shared dreams of what life is supposed to be. But the moment one sees through the dream, the ties that once held them to others begin to loosen. A person who sees the nature of reality cannot pretend. They do not chase validation, nor do they seek to belong for the sake of comfort. They are not enchanted by the games of status, gossip, or the endless pursuit of things that will one day fade into dust. And this makes them strange to the world. Others may smile at them, exchange pleasantries, even admire them from a distance, but they will not truly connect. For connection, as most know it, relies on shared illusions, and once one has stepped beyond, there is no returning to that old way of being. There is an unsettling truth in realizing that most friendships are built on need. People need entertainment, reassurance, a distraction from their own emptiness. But the one who has glimpsed something beyond does not need in that way. They do not grasp or cling. They do not engage in relationships that exist merely to fill time or silence. They see beauty in solitude, in the vastness of their own being, and in the quiet space where truth emerges. To those who still live within the framework of the mind, such a person appears distant, perhaps even arrogant. But it is not arrogance, it is simply the absence of the need to perform, to be anything other than what they are. And this makes them difficult to relate to. The world admires the wise from afar, but does not truly wish to know them. For to know them is to risk shattering one's comfortable illusions. And most people would rather keep their illusions than embrace the unknown. Those who walk this path do not lament their solitude, for they understand that it is not loneliness but freedom. A freedom that allows them to exist without compromise, to see the world as it is, rather than as it is wished to be. And while the world may see this as having zero friends, the truth is something far greater. The one who has let go of illusions has made peace with everything. There is something profoundly unsettling about seeing the world for what it is. It is as if a veil has been lifted, and in that moment, everything that once felt certain, solid, and familiar begins to dissolve. The rules that once seemed so absolute, what is good, what is bad, what one should do, how one should live, no longer hold the same weight. And with this shift comes a quiet separation from the world and the people in it. It is not a choice made out of bitterness or resentment. It is not that one wishes to be alone. Rather, it is the natural consequence of understanding, of seeing through the layers of conditioning that keep most people tethered to the illusions of society. The more one awakens to the truth, the more difficult it becomes to engage in the games that once seemed important. Small talk feels empty. Gossip feels like noise. The constant struggle for validation, success, and approval appears pointless, a fleeting distraction from something deeper. Most people do not seek truth. They seek comfort.
Do we have comfort in Anthony?
Hey, what's up, man?
Y'all
Hello,
check
Anthony.
What?
Postulate on what you just heard.
I didn't hear anything. Literally just popped in. What are we checking out here? 7 of 9.
Alan Watt, a philosopher who came from the 1900s to the 1970s, like the early 1900s. So he grew up during both world wars, World War I, World War II.
That's intense, yeah.
Yeah, and he comes up with some crazy stuff. I didn't take any notes.
He sounds very.
What was his overall theme
British.
there, Gay Dollar? That people who see life for what it is tend to be alone. But it's not by choice, because everybody seems to be caught up in the illusion of everything. But those who can see through all that bullshit tend to be lonely, and it's a noble thing. I think that's what he was saying.
Right.
Richie says, "Do people feel lonely?" It's not something I've experienced in life. I don't know. I mean, I would say yes, but I don't think it's in the way that like most people would think about it. Like for me, I'll have like momentary it'd be nice to not be alone all the time. And that
Right.
lasts maybe like 3 minutes. And then I don't experience that again for like another 6 months to a year. So, because I actually do enjoy and am very content with like being alone.
Yeah. All right. Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go a little bit further.
I'll buy one. Just back
Make sure to get y'all pole sheds.
Yeah.
They seek, most people do not seek truth. They seek comfort. They seek familiarity. They seek confirmation that the way they are living is right, that their beliefs are correct, that their choices are justified. But the moment one steps beyond this, they are no longer a participant in the collective dream. They become an outsider. Not because they have rejected the world, but because the world no longer recognizes them as one of its own.
That's why they're
There is
lonely.
an odd paradox in all of this. The one who sees beyond illusion does not judge those who remain asleep. There is no anger, no frustration, no superiority, only understanding.
Only
They
understand.
see why people cling to their beliefs, why they hold on to their routines, why they seek distractions. They understand that most are simply afraid. Afraid of the unknown, afraid of letting go, afraid of questioning too deeply, for fear that everything they have built their identity upon might crumble.
Oh dear.
And so the awakened one moves differently. They do not force their insights upon others, for they know that truth cannot be given, it must be found. They do not try to convince or argue, for they see that most do not want to be freed, they only want to be reassured. This creates a distance, not an intentional one, but an inevitable one. Friends drift away. Conversations become strained. The connections that once felt natural now feel forced. The more one embraces their own awakening, the more they find themselves standing at the edges of the world, watching as others move through life as if in a dream. There is a temptation to return to the old ways, to try and fit in again, to pretend for the sake of companionship. But once the truth has been seen,
He
it cannot
thinks a
be.
lot of himself.
No, you have.
I'm
Yeah.
actually understanding what he's saying here, but I feel like there's a paradox.
Yes, he said that. Yeah.
Because no, well, I mean, in what he's saying though, like, so he's saying like, there's a loneliness or a
That those who see the world for what it is, those who can see through the illusion, are enlightened.
right,
Yes.
and then the world doesn't recognize them as one of its own, and then they're on the outskirts, right?
That's why they're lonely. Yeah.
But if like more than one person becomes in that paradigm, would they no longer be alone?
Oh, that's
So this is, well, you'll hear more of what he says, but
like two squirrels trying to find each other. One's on the East Coast and one's on the West Coast.
Well, well with the internet, it's not even
Maybe
it's
it's not that hard.
anymore.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like if I'm seeing things that in that way, which I think I do, maybe not as maybe I'm on the cusp, right? And Jay Dollar sees things in that way. We know each other,
Then you're not alone.
right? So
That happy ending. Yay.
isn't the paradox like just another, for lack of a better term, state of consciousness within the world.
Yeah, but
two opposing
how
consciousness. In the
how is
world?
it? How does he define it though? This what's his name? Alan Watt fellow.
Yeah, let's hear.
How does he define what enlightened is?
Unseen. There is no going back. It is not that the awakened person does not care for others. On the contrary, they may feel a deeper love, a greater compassion than ever before. But this love is not personal, it is not based on need, expectation, or attachment. It is simply there, flowing like a river, expecting nothing in return. And yet, because this love does not come with conditions, it is often misunderstood. People expect friendship to come with reassurance, with validation, with participation in the collective dream. And when they do not find this, they assume there is something wrong, that the awakened one is cold, distant, or even arrogant.
Arrogant.
But the truth is far simpler. The awakened one does not reject people, they simply do not pretend. They do not force relationships that feel unnatural.
I do that.
They do not engage in conversations that serve no purpose.
It's like
They do
psychology
not
101.
entertain drama,
That's me.
conflict, or emotional gains. They do not seek company for the sake of avoiding solitude, because to them solitude is not something to be feared.
That's one
It
of
is
the
not
troubles
loneliness, it is peace. This is where the great divide occurs. Most people run from themselves. They fill their days with noise, with distractions,
Most people
with
do.
endless activity to avoid sitting in silence with their own thoughts.
But you
the
don't.
awakened one has no such fear.
Because you're enlightened.
They have faced the emptiness within and discovered that it is not emptiness at all, but a vast, limitless space of awareness. They are not trying to escape themselves, they have come to know themselves fully. And so they do not chase after people, nor do they need to be chased.
Huh.
They simply are.
Sigma.
This existence is foreign to many. It is unsettling to be around someone who does not seek anything from you.
No, we can be charming.
Progress is everything.
You just punched my
I
desk.
think
All right,
I
so
think us
you just
enlightened ones can be charming.
I used the term like a alternate like state of consciousness, but to use his own words, like it would just seem to me that the more people are quote unquote enlightened, as he puts it, that there would just be two. I don't want to use the word opposing, but two divergent. What was the
Divergent, but not diametrically opposed.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
the term he used was collective dream.
That's the illusion that the enlightened ones can see through.
Well,
his argument can be reflected upon like what us specifically have been going through with everyone as they've been going through what they've gone through. Not necessarily do we not have emotion, like not necessarily do I have a problem with Chris Stanley, but the way his focus and reality on things is a part of a group think, whereas mine, I'm solace in myself. I'm happy to be a lone ranger, and that's like kind of.
You're happy to be a what?
Right, but what I think what I'm trying to.
But
say
at the same
is,
time, I'm an emotional travesty. You know what I'm saying? Like so.
that doesn't it pose the question then if there are more people that fall into that category that it just becomes its own collective dream, its own.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like separate from what it would be considered the norm.
Right. Depending on how rare they are. I mean, there could just be 5 on the planet, or there could be 1 million on the planet amongst 8 billion.
Right, but it still would be.
They wouldn't be lonely.
No, well, that's what I mean. Like they wouldn't be. I don't want to use the term lonely, but they wouldn't be alone.
That's what he said.
You know what I mean?
Right. That's what he's saying. That they're so rare and far between that the world rejects them because they're so enlightened. That it can be a lonely experience, but it it is the enlightened experience.
Interesting.
And it's
Need your approval, who does not play by the rules of social engagement. And so, one by one, people drift away. It is not because they dislike the awakened one, but because they do not understand them. They do not know how to relate to someone who does not need validation, who does not engage in superficiality, who does not participate in the silent agreement to
Do
pretend.
you do that? Are you enlightened?
And yet, there is a profound beauty in this solitude.
Are you?
It is not isolation. It is a return to something real. It is a stepping away from the noise and into the vastness of existence itself. It is a life lived without pretense, without masks, without the constant pressure to be something for someone else.
Who doesn't want to?
There may be moments of longing, moments where one wishes they could go back, where the old ways seem tempting for the sake of connection. But deep down, the awakened one knows that such connections would be hollow,
The
built
awakened.
not on truth, but on
Hey,
mutual
Dollar,
illusion.
are you
And so
an
they walk
awakened?
that
Oh my God, can we make it a few minutes?
No, we can't. Are you an awakened one, Gay Dollar?
Yes.
Uh, Dark Gift, are you an awakened one?
If we're going based off of what he's saying, then yes, I would say.
I think
so.
I am too. So yes, three for
Because
three.
I don't live my life based on validation from other people.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird, right? Like in my head, I would, I use certain, like, what my grandfather would think, or but like I don't, if he was still alive, I wouldn't necessarily seek his approval on something. I just try to live my life the way because he was a role model kind of thing, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, so I don't. And for as it's hard to explain because like being in this community, certain things kind of fall into your lap that you don't necessarily want to have fall in your lap, but then people like attribute it to you, right? And like you'll say something like, well, I don't necessarily enjoy X, and they'll be like, oh, you're all about X, it's like,
Yeah, that's what yeah.
No, I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, I really not, but whatever you think however you want to think,
All right, let's click this.
path alone, not because they have been cast out, but because they have outgrown the need to belong in a world that does not yet understand itself.
That's me.
Most people believe that friendships are formed out of deep connection, shared values, and mutual respect. On the surface, this seems true. But when you begin to look deeper, you start to see that most relationships are built on something far more fragile, shared illusions. People come together not necessarily because they truly understand each other, but because they validate each other's beliefs, reinforce each other's worldviews, and provide distractions from the deeper questions they might not want to face. Human beings are social
All right, hold
creatures,
on.
but this
You're gonna
need
get
for
me
connection
started. I'm
often
sorry.
stems from a
I'm
deeper
sorry.
fear.
Well, everything he's saying is true.
Right,
No, it's
but this also goes.
Yes,
back
it
to
is.
my-
It's everything that we're going through right now.
No, it's true, but this goes back to my paradox. Is like if 2 or 3 or 4 or 20 or 50 or more people that fall into this category of the enlightened one find themselves.
The enlightened one is a lesser amount of people. I think you're missing what he's saying because of all the interruptions.
No, I understand what he's saying. We're talking about 7 billion people in the world, and I'm saying if 100 of these people that go into this enlightened state find each other, do they not naturally?
You don't find
and then
each other.
rule the world.
No,
The enlightened.
that's
So
not what I'm
that's not his argument. His argument
That's
is
what he's saying, though. That's what he's saying.
No. The enlightened people don't necessarily find people like you're saying.
I know they don't.
It's the masses of others that
No, I get what he's saying.
they exacerbate issues, and the typical person, the neo figure, looks at these exacerbated issues and has a put off frame of thought, has a
right. But
has
hear what
a
I'm saying. I understand
ritual
what he's
approach.
saying. Hear what I'm saying. It could just be two people who fall into this category.
That's enough.
That meet each other, and naturally will then start to form a
Heather and I. Heather and I are.
Hold on, back up 10 seconds.
Back up 10.
And
Form
then
of
pause.
friendship,
Of being alone.
not based on illusion.
So Heather and I are.
Back up 5 more seconds.
Like we can sit in car and drive for like an hour and not necessarily, we'll say things to each other, but we won't, because there's an emptiness in the air. We won't just start superficially start talking about it.
Right. You can sit in. There's no such thing as uncomfortable silence, which for me, yes, there is no such thing as uncomfortable silence. It's other people that have that uncomfortable silence feeling. Right. But just hit play for a second.
Okay.
Respect. On the surface, this seems true. But when you begin to look deeper, you start to see that most relationships are built on something far more fragile, shared illusions. People come together not necessarily because they truly understand each other, but because they validate each other's beliefs,
Hit pause.
reinforce each other's worldviews, and provide distractions from the deeper questions.
That's like Lord
Okay,
Rapper
so-
Jesus and all.
Well, hold on. But if 2 or more people that fall into this purview meet, are they not then reinforcing each other's worldviews?
Yes.
Do you see the paradox here?
Well, I think you're missing.
So, no, I'm not. I'm just proposing another philosophical question to hit. I'm basically debating a man who's not in front of me. I'm just
And
because
he's-
I'm just
and he's
because
full of
I'm
paradoxes.
just because I'm thinking of like I agree with what he's saying 100%, but it makes me think that if more more people more than one fall into this purview, then they kind of fall into their own enlightened shared reality or shared dream or what have you, the way he was phrasing it. So wouldn't that mean that to break free of that, you would then have to push further to be even more, using his word, enlightened?
All right, let's make it 4 minutes.
They might not want to face. Human beings are social creatures, but this need for connection often stems from a deeper fear of being alone. People seek friendships to fill space, to avoid silence, to create a sense of belonging in a world that often feels unpredictable and chaotic. They build their relationships on the things they have in common: beliefs, interests, routines, but rarely do they stop to question whether these things have any real substance. Friendships are often based on mutual participation in the same reality, whether that reality is built around work, entertainment, or cultural expectations. When someone begins to wake up from that reality, they no longer fit within the framework that once held their relationships together. A person who starts to see beyond the surface of life, who questions things deeply, who no longer clings to the same attachments, will naturally begin to notice that the connections they once had start to fade. It is not because they have changed in some fundamental way that makes them incapable of love or friendship, but because they no longer share the same illusions that once bound them to others. The conversations that once felt engaging now seem repetitive. The dramas that once seemed significant now appear trivial. The endless discussions about status, success, and external validation lose their grip. Most friendships are not rooted in truth, but in a mutual agreement to keep certain ideas alive.
That's a false
People bond over shared complaints, over gossip, over the struggles they face. They bond over their fears, their desires, their ambitions. But what happens when one person no
Oh,
Your
pay for
membership-
premium. God damn it.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Is more than just a card. It's your gateway to
But
false what he said about friendship.
But you understand what I'm saying, right? I mean,
longer plays
yeah, I get what you're saying, but I think you're putting yourself into a Chris Stanley group, and you're not looking at it from a Neo in the Matrix
No, I
conversation.
am. I'm
And
just
you're not listening to him
Chris
as
Stanley.
being
Okay.
Neo in the Matrix. You're listening to him as being Chris
let's use
Stanley.
let's use Neo as an example, because I totally understand what's going on here, but I'm proposing a bigger question. Neo was alone in the Matrix, correct?
Yeah. Was he?
No, he wasn't. He had a whole team of a smaller group of people who didn't necessarily have the power that he did, but he was the most awakened of the small group of resistance that he was able to
All it takes
find.
Except for what's her face?
Trinity,
Correct.
which is my Heather. So there, you will find, and I don't think it's based on like one person. I think in your life there will be individuals. Like one human will have one person, one human will have three people. Someone like on Trump's level will have a handily bit more people that are Neos in the fixtures.
Correct. That's
So,
my point. And my
yeah.
point would be, do they not then in turn in their own smaller little groups become a smaller version of the collective?
You can make that argument. You can make that argument.
That's what I'm saying, right? So then to still continue to be a Neo, you would continue to need to keep evolving or becoming more enlightened.
I don't. Well, if you're like, I mean, I hear that.
Yeah, I'm not talking Admiral Wackash. I'm not talking about the fourth one. I'm just going by the three.
Yeah, that
original
one was
movies.
That one wasn't real. All right, so I want to do the last minute of this, and then I want to hit this section, and then we can go on. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I'm just saying, you can go with what he's saying here, but then it tends to be it's like a tree.
Well, that's what
planting seeds
philosophy
and growing
is.
smaller trees.
Philosophy is up for the interpretation of the person who is hearing it and experiencing it where they are in their life. So where I am in my life, where 7 of 9 is, and where you are, we are on different paradigms. They're literally
Yeah,
totally
we have
different.
to think about different things.
Yeah. But I hear that argument. But what he is saying is you could make an argument that it's a nuanced, common sense approach to how alpha males look at the circumstances that they're in.
Sigma males, I think he's more describing than alpha males.
Because in his
Maybe.
philosophical thought, no two Neos would meet.
That's not true. No, because he says in this, no.
He doesn't forbid
Not at
it
all.
in anything that he said.
Then how do they stay in Neo?
I use Neo as an example.
Right. I'm just using an example to keep it, so we understand what we're saying.
All right, I'm gonna hit the button.
Good.
It's that game. What happens when someone stops seeing life as a competition? When they stop believing in the necessity of struggle? When they stop defining themselves through external measures of success? The foundation of those friendships begins to crumble. There is an unspoken rule in human relationships: to belong, you must conform. You must play your part. You must engage in the shared reality that the group has created. If you refuse to participate, if you no longer find meaning in the things that others do, you become an outsider. Not because you have rejected them, but because they no longer know how to relate to you.
They rejected
A
you.
person who begins to wake up often finds that they can no longer engage in the same conversations without feeling disconnected. They see that many discussions are simply ways to avoid deeper truths, people talking just to fill silence, people gossiping to avoid looking at their own lives, people complaining about the world without ever questioning their own role in it. And when they stop participating in these patterns, they find themselves alone. This solitude is not necessarily a painful thing. At first it may feel unsettling, because the loss of companionship can feel like a kind of rejection. But over time, it becomes clear that this is not rejection at all. It is simply the natural effect of moving beyond the illusions that once created those connections.
The illusion
Most people want to be heard, but very few want to listen.
once created those
Most
connections.
people want support, but very few want to be challenged. They want to be surrounded by those who make them feel comfortable, not those who force them to question
That's not
themselves.
true.
And so, when a person begins to see through the layers of illusion that make up the social world, they stop providing the comfort that others seek. They become something else entirely, not an enemy,
Something
not
better.
a friend, but something unsettling,
Oh.
something that does not fit into the established roles. This is why those who awaken often find that they have fewer and fewer friends.
Those who
It
awaken,
is not because
there
they do
are
not
more
love,
than one.
or because they do not care. It is because they do not pretend. They do not engage in relationships that exist merely to reinforce illusions. They do not provide the false sense of security that many people crave. Instead, they exist in a space of truth, and truth is something that many people find difficult to face.
Is that true?
This is not to say that all relationships are meaningless, or that all human connection is based on illusion. There are rare friendships, rare bonds that transcend the usual dynamics of social interaction. These are the relationships built on something deeper than shared beliefs or common interests. They are built on mutual recognition, on a profound understanding that goes beyond words. But these kinds of relationships are rare, and they cannot be forced. They emerge only when both individuals have reached a level of awareness
You knew.
where they no longer need anything from each other,
There.
where they are simply present with one another without expectation or illusion.
They can meet each
For
other.
most, however, friendships serve as a way to maintain the status quo. They are built on convenience, on shared distractions, on the silent agreement to keep reality at bay. When one person in the friendship begins to see beyond this, the relationship inevitably begins to dissolve. Not because there is conflict, but because there is no longer anything holding it together. This is why the chosen ones often walk.
Why do I use Navam?
No one asked
you. It makes managing business.
Yeah, the more he's talking, especially now that he's talking about these, it's even making what I'm saying even more of a plausibility.
That the enlightened ones find each other and form relationships.
On a different level, they're still doing the same thing that the people
But
who are
not based on the what does he say, the illusions that friendships are formed on.
correct. But it forms its own illusion.
Yeah.
Like a
I
different
don't think so. I think that's just human nature.
But
not an
Correct.
illusion.
Well, I use the I use the
utility
term
of
I use the term naturally, but yeah.
Yeah, or naturally.
He
Yeah,
leaves
like,
out the utility of friendships, that he says that they're based on illusions and all that. But both parties, both friends, get something out of the relationship. Like there's a mutually beneficial net result.
Right.
Like
he's saying the enlightened ones
That's
don't
not
do it
an
for
illusion.
they're there just to be in the presence of one another.
Right,
But
for
that-
comfort and validation.
But that presence
That's what he says.
in one another still offers a form, whether it be a lesser or greater, depending on how you look at it, form of comfort.
Yes.
Right? Not the comfort in like the social norm aspect, but in a different way. That's just my philosophical argument. I always, you know me, I always got to play the devil's advocate and figure out a way to argue against the point, just so I can understand the point better.
well, I mean, that's the whole point of philosophy, you know.
Yeah, right.
Like,
what
I think
is it,
one of
Jared?
Me too,
the
Richard,
dude from
me too.
Incubus, that Brandon guy, he has used that philosophical tool in his music, and even though there's lyrics in it, how you interpret his songs, he wants your lived life experiences to give you what you need from that song. So if I listen to it, it will be different than if someone like Anthony or someone who just found out about Incubus. Like,
Right.
Well, I think a lot of musicians go for that, unless you're a storyteller, like you're like a folk musician or a blues. Like, well, blues can be pretty much interpreted, but most blues is storytelling. Chris Christopherson, Bruce Springsteen, these guys, John Cougar, these guys are telling stories, specific stories of like certain things. But I think most musicians have at least 40 to 50% of their library as interpretational pieces.
like
Sure.
he wanted to do you, Linkovich. All right, let's skip to this real quick, and then we can move on to the next.
Comfort in times of doubt. When someone no longer engages in this exchange, they are perceived as distant, uninterested, or even cold. But in reality, they are simply no longer feeding the patterns of reassurance that most relationships require.
Are all
Imagine a scenario where a group of people constantly seek validation from one another, engaging in conversations that revolve around shared struggles, mutual complaints, and collective desires. Now imagine one individual within that group no longer seeks the same validation. They listen, but they do not react in the expected ways. They do not engage in unnecessary drama. They do not offer empty words of encouragement, nor do they echo the same frustrations. They are present, but they do not participate in the emotional exchanges that others depend on. To those still caught in the cycle, this behavior can feel unsettling. They may perceive the individual as distant, disconnected, or even arrogant. They may feel as though they are being judged. Even when no judgment is present, they may feel exposed, as if their own reliance on validation has suddenly been made visible. And so, instead of embracing this presence as an opportunity for growth, they distance themselves. They seek out those who will continue to provide the familiar sense of validation they are accustomed to. The absence of validation creates discomfort, not because it is harmful, but because it forces people to confront their own dependence on external approval. It reveals how much of their sense of self has been shaped by the reflections they receive from others. When someone no longer participates in this cycle, it leaves a void that many would rather avoid than explore. This is why those who walk a path of awareness often find themselves alone. It is not because they do not care. It is not because they do not love. It is because they no longer feed the patterns that most relationships are built upon. They no longer offer the same reassurances. They no longer mirror back the identities that others have created for themselves. They exist in a space of neutrality, of quiet understanding, of deep presence. And for many, this is uncomfortable. Most people do not seek truth in their relationships. They seek comfort. They seek familiarity, recognition, and the reinforcement of their existing beliefs. When someone stops providing these things, they are perceived as...
What'd you say?
He left some out there. He's talking about how the Enlightened One isn't giving of these things that the outsider is giving of these things that establish a friendship within the collective.
Mm-hmm.
But he's leaving out the fact that they also don't need it. You know,
so the Enlightened ones don't need to.
They're not looking for those same things from other people.
That's what he's saying.
They like their solitude.
Yeah, Anthony is basically explaining you, and you're like arguing against it. You know, I think it's funny. So.
Explaining me?
No. What I'm saying is like he's leaving it out. Like he didn't.
No, he's not leaving it out. Not at all.
Did he mention that they don't need it, or that you're just not giving it? Because I only heard him say.
He just said that it's not because they don't need it or seek familiarity. It's just that it's no longer worth arguing about. It's not worth the breath. It's all right.
Worth seeking. If it comes along, then so be it.
Yeah, exactly.
As an outsider, as someone who does not belong. Not because they have done anything wrong, but because they no longer fit within the framework of expectation. This is the paradox of awakening. The more one sees, the less they need. The more one understands, the less they seek validation. And the less they seek validation, the fewer connections they maintain.
One understands.
Not out of bitterness, not out of rejection, but simply because most relationships require a mutual participation in illusion.
No.
But for those who have stepped beyond this, solitude is not a punishment. It is not loneliness in the way most people understand it. It is simply a natural consequence of no longer being bound by the need for validation. It is a quiet liberation, a space of inner peace where relationships are no longer based on dependency, but on true recognition. When a person reaches this state, they no longer fear solitude. They do not seek companionship for the sake of filling a void. They do not engage in friendships that require them to be anything other than what they truly are. They move through the world without the need to be seen.
After the Second World War?
Oh my God. I don't understand how you don't follow what he's saying. I just don't get it.
No, it's funny. What I was saying that he left out, when you hit play, he wound up saying it. So I was glad that he threw that in there.
Yeah.
Without the need to be understood, without the need to be accepted. And in this they find a kind of freedom that most will never experience. The way people interact is largely dictated by the structures they have built around their lives. Society operates on a network of unspoken rules, habits, and expectations that maintain a certain level of predictability. People feel comfortable when they know what to expect from others, when behaviors align with shared norms, and when interactions follow familiar patterns. This creates a sense of security, a feeling that the world is ordered and comprehensible. When someone begins to operate outside of these patterns, they become an anomaly. They disrupt the predictability that most people rely on for social harmony. They no longer react in the expected ways. They no longer engage in the same conversations. And they no longer conform to the silent agreements that hold social circles together. This change, though subtle, is deeply unsettling to those who remain attached to the structures that define their reality. Most relationships are built on a set of mutual reinforcements. People bond over shared beliefs, common struggles, and similar life perspectives. When someone challenges these structures not through direct confrontation, but merely by no longer participating in them, they inadvertently disturb the foundation upon which these relationships are built.
And Anthony, that's why Well-Read and Raptor got so mad at you.
Why? What did you do?
Because you did not conform to this invented bubble of known reality, and you lived in your own bubble that you like to traverse through life in.
He's done pretty good so far. I gotta say, Dark Gift. You've done pretty good so far.
I have no
no regrets, bro.
No regrets and no
anybody to apologize.
Yeah.
Fuck off. A lot of
That's crazy, huh? Because it's not that it doesn't matter to you. And this is what I kind of trying to explain to Well-Read. I was like, bro, Anthony's a bartender. I was like, he's a bartender in Jersey, of all fucking places. He has heard every story known to man.
Yeah.
And he's heard every complaint from every woman in Jersey, and he's heard every complaint from every man in Jersey. So like when you throw these
fights too, I bet.
Yeah, when you throw these nonsensicals at Anthony, it's not that he doesn't care. It's not that
he's looking at us across the bar.
He just looks at it differently. It's not it's not how he would like to sword fight, and I think that's where a lot of misconception has really blossomed.
So Anthony is enlightened. Like he moves beyond the illusion.
I would say, yeah.
Attaboy,
DG throwing his ball sweat at people. See,
yeah, I turned Anthony's mic all the way up and he got quiet.
Oh, that's because I'm leaning back, bro. My bad. I'm literally I got my hands behind my head, like I'm like lounging back. No, Richie Dupe saying DG throwing his ball sweat at people again. I can't believe he remembered me saying that.
I don't know what that means. DG throwing his balls sweet at people.
I think it was Well-Read. Somebody was
Well-Read.
Somebody was in the chat recently. I mean, like I haven't streamed very often, so I don't. This is going back maybe a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and they were arguing with me, and I was like, you know what, I was like, what did I say? I get sweat on the back of my balls that need cleaning or something.
Oh,
like
wow.
And Richie remembers that.
Well, not to say that you're Neo or that you can fly or you can
right
take over
This
Mr.
isn't science
Smith.
fiction, yeah.
But I was like, Heather, she'll laugh at me sometimes if I'm watching like a war movie and I start crying. Because I get emotional with war. But like, I'm a stern, like I don't show that, You know what I'm saying? Like, so there is an obvious care, but I don't show that I care.
Right.
And I think even though I care,
you do with your actions, but not with your
I've
emotions.
developed, how I respond in my own way, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
No, I get that because like even with like death, even with like death of like close people close to me, like my grandfather passed. I think I cried for all of 20 seconds. My grandmother passed. I think I cried for all of 20 seconds. Same thing with my friend Renee. You know what I mean? But it was like something broke that wall for a split second for it to come through, and then like and then 20 seconds later, I was like, okay, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like I could pull it back together. I think honestly, I think with my one dog, I probably cried a little bit longer, which is sad to say, but I cried like for like an extra minute and a half longer than I did when my grandfather passed. But I think there's a difference there because I was alone in a room, not in like a church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With
I'm
like
an ugly
100
crier.
other people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I was in the vet office.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like in the vet office with them and stuff. But
shit, when my granddad died, I broke down like a bitch. I was like,
no, you know what it was? I was good, man. I didn't let it go. Like I had for like days I had that lump in the throat, but I wouldn't let it go. And then my cousin, we were at the funeral, and my cousin's doing the eulogy. I was kind of pissed they didn't ask me to do it, but whatever. So my cousin's doing the eulogy, and she just said this one thing. She goes, and just like Gramps always said, root for the root for the Mets and whoever's playing the Yankees. And she said that line, and like for like 30 seconds, it was just like tears down the face, and like, you know what I mean? And how come Kirk's not showing up on your?
I blocked that bitch.
Why? What did he do?
He's not showing.
So egregious.
Is he in the chat?
Sup, Kirk? Low.
Oh, it probably shows up in the chat if you.
Yeah, he's in the chat.
Don't have him blocked, but on Restream, if I have someone blocked, it won't show it on the Restream.
Oh, really?
So is well-read user an enlightened one? Is he enlightened? We
No.
three are.
No.
But well-read user is not.
No. He's unfortunately in that
One
little.
of those people that we don't pity. We just walk by because we're
No, we
enlightened.
love him.
Okay.
But he's an estranged. He's.
He could be enlightened.
He fell. He
could shrug off the illusion that friendships are based on comfort, affirmation, and something else.
Here's my. I'm gonna break the wall a little bit. I see Kirk in on my when I look at my phone, Lane and Richie.
Yeah, you should be able to see him.
But when I'm not looking at my phone, I'm looking at the screen, and on the side panel chat here on Restream, he's nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
So I keep people like sup Kirk, LOL Kirk.
Hello, Kirk. I see.
I don't know who Kirk
and I'm like, where's Kirk? But here's my thing. I'm gonna kind of care a little bit. This is my thing with Richie, right? Richie Dupe. I'm gonna use Richie Dupe as an example. He always seems really cool, right? With me. Says hi, never starts shit with me in the chat. But I've seen 2 times. I may have him blocked on my chat, to be honest with you, because because I saw 2 times somebody. This is going back a couple of months ago. 2 clips had nothing to do with him, but in those clips in the chat, Richie kind of joined in on something that maybe I misinterpreted. But there's only one reason people get blocked in my chat. And so I never know like where I actually stand with the dude. And I enjoy interacting with him when I'm here, because I probably interact with him more here than anywhere else. So yeah, he's a conundrum to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we got Finatra. What's up, Finn?
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, he was here earlier.
So, what do you think of a
Pin the link
philosopher born in World War One?
That's what I was thinking.
Went through his 40s or whatever it was in the 60s, right when hippie era was blossoming, and then he was murdered or died. He died. Whatever. So what do you think about that man's
train of went through?
Yeah, like, and he was able to articulate such a thing, clearly through his lived experiences and the clearly the books that he read, but more so his lived experiences.
Right, not knowing anything about how he spent his time between the two world wars, and then growing up in the 60s. It sounds like he means well. He was traumatized by two world wars, and now he just wants to rise above it all somehow.
Right. Again, he is Alan Watts. Alan Watts is like a C or D rated version of Manly P. Hall, or like a C but there are some things Alan Watts has said where you're like, I completely grasp what you're fucking saying there, bro. He's gone off the deep end as well.
That's true.
But that was a man who was around when the operations of strategic services started spreading drugs in the late 50s and the 60s.
Oh, did he
throughout America? Yeah, he got to take some.
Oh, good.
I imagine.
Yes.
He's a philosopher out of the 60s.
Yeah,
and 70s.
after all,
That motherfucker took
philosopher doesn't take drugs. You know, I kind of don't like him, this Alan Watt fellow, but only having heard of him for the first time tonight.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to do a 1950s philosopher named Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill. That was it. Yeah. Okay.
And he was born in the 1800s, and I think he died. So he went through.
When did he die? What year?
Oh, fuck. Let me look real quick.
1800s.
1970 at age 87.
No shit. 1970.
Yeah, and he was born in 1883.
How old was he when he died?
87. All right, so we heard from a philosopher that came up through World War One and World War II. Remember, when that happened, they changed books. They changed the way paragraphs work. They changed the H to a J. Like, all that started to change. This is a man who grew up a little bit after France and Britain were going through all the shenanigans that they were going through. But really, he experienced America from the 1900s to the 1950s. Really, the 60s. All right. So this is a philosophical thinker who is positing the same philosophical thought, but he has a holistically different way to say it and a holistically different approach. But they're kind of saying the same thing, and they're generationally completely fucking different. So, and we're not going to go through this whole 2 hours. Absolutely not. But the first 18 minutes is enough.
That's enough. Yeah.
This is the first of 13 messages that I will deliver to you. Now, in each message, I will describe the master key in terms that you will understand, if you are ready to understand. And now I shall give you the first cue as to the nature of the great master key which has been responsible for all the great successes in every calling, in every part of the world. Please listen carefully to what I have to say, because you may discover the secret of the master key in this first visit.
The master key?
You may get your first cue as to the nature of the great master key when I tell you that psychologists have discovered a natural law which is the very foundation of all personal successes. And I can describe it to you in one short sentence so you can understand it. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. Isn't that a profound statement? You will notice that it says nothing about the need for education, but simply that whatever your mind can conceive and believe, your mind can achieve. Now, if you want evidence that the mind can achieve whatever the mind can conceive without the benefit of formal education, you only have to remember that Thomas A. Edison conceived the idea of becoming an inventor and lived to become the world's greatest scientist in the field of invention, with only 3 months of common school education. When I first heard Andrew Carnegie describe this natural law, which makes it possible for you and I and everyone else to write his own price tag in life and attain it, I became so enthused over it that I began to search for the power back of it, and my curiosity led me finally to the discovery of the master key, which I shall reveal to you if you are ready to receive it.
I am.
My search led me to the study of the spiritual forces with which all of us are blessed. And it was in this field that I came upon a clue which has enabled me to help millions of people to find their earthly destinies. I want to describe my discovery in the simplest terms possible, because it will reveal to you why it is true that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, regardless of how many times you may have failed in the past or how lofty your aims and hopes may be. I caught my first fleeting glimpse of the profound law which provides the means by which we may choose our own purpose in life and attain it while I was being coached by Andrew Carnegie during the organization of the Science of Success philosophy. I had just finished telling Mr. Carnegie that I feared he had chosen the wrong person to give the world the first practical philosophy of personal success because of my youth, my lack of education, and my lack of finances. Well, at this point, Mr. Carnegie delivered a lecture that I shall never forget because it changed my entire life and paved the way for my helping to change the lives of millions of people, some of them not yet born. Let me call your attention to a great power which is under your control, said Mr. Carnegie. A power which is greater than poverty, greater than the lack of education, greater than all of your fears and superstitions combined. It is the power to take possession of your own mind and direct it to whatever ends you may desire. This profound power, Mr. Carnegie continued, is the gift of the Creator, and it must have been considered the greatest of all of his gifts to man, because it is the only thing over which man has the complete and unchallengeable right of control and direction. When you speak of your poverty and lack of education, Mr. Carnegie explained, you are simply directing your mind power to attract these undesirable circumstances, because it is true that whatever your mind feeds upon, your mind attracts to you. Now you see why it is important that you recognize that all success begins with definiteness of purpose, with a clear picture in your mind of precisely what you want from life. Then Mr. Carnegie continued his speech with a description of a great universal truth which made such an impact upon my mind that I began then and there to give myself a new outlook on life and set up for myself a goal so far above my previous achievements that it shocked my friends and relatives when they heard about it. Everyone, said Mr. Carnegie, comes to the earth plane blessed with the privilege of controlling his mind power and directing it to whatever ends he may choose. But, he continued, everyone brings over with him at birth the equivalent of 2 sealed envelopes, one of which is clearly labeled the riches you may enjoy if you take possession of your own mind and direct it to ends of your own choice. And the other is labeled the penalties you must pay if you neglect to take possession of your mind and direct it. And now let me reveal to you, said Mr. Carnegie, the contents of those two sealed envelopes. In the one labeled riches is this list of blessings. 1, sound health. 2, peace of mind. 3, a labor of love of your own choice. 4, freedom from fear and worry. 5, a positive mental attitude. 6, material riches of your own choice and quantity. In the sealed envelope labeled penalties, Mr. Carnegie continued, is this list of the prices one must pay for neglecting to take possession of his own mind. 1, ill health. 2, fear and worry. 3, indecision and doubt. 4, frustration and discouragement throughout life. 5, poverty and want. 6, and a whole flock of evils consisting of envy, greed, jealousy, anger, hatred, and superstition.
How many children?
Now, my mission in life is to help you and everyone who needs my help to open up and use the contents of the sealed envelope labeled riches. And the starting point from which you must take off if you wish to write your own ticket from here on out for the remainder of your life, I will describe for you in these simple instructions. 1, procure a neat pocket-sized notebook, or something on the order of this one here, loose leaf affair. And on page 1, write down a clear description of your major desire in life, the one circumstance or position or thing which you will be willing to accept as your idea of success. And remember before you begin writing that your only limitations are those which you set up in your own mind or permit others to set up for you. And 2, on page 2 of your notebook, write down a clear statement of precisely what you intend to give in return for that which you desire from life. And then start in right where you stand now to begin giving. And 3, memorize both of your statements, what you desire and what you intend to give in return for it, and repeat them at least a dozen times daily. And always end your statements with this expression of gratitude for the blessings with which you were gifted at birth. I ask not, O divine providence, for more riches, but more wisdom with which to accept and use wisely the riches I received at birth in the form of the power to control and direct my mind to whatever ends I desire. If you are not too successful or self-satisfied to accept and express this profound prayer, if you accept it and express it in the same spirit of humble sincerity in which I pass it on to you, a new and a better world will reveal itself to you. A world in which you will see reflected the circumstances and the things which you yourself have created. Next, I will give you a description of the second principle of success, through the application of which you may make use of the education and experience.
All right, so what do we think about that? Less interruptions. I think the people from the 50s knew how to say things better.
Yeah. This guy had a son who was born without ears. How many kids do you think he has?
Napoleon Hill?
Yeah.
I have
Blair Hill is the son.
Yeah, I think Napoleon is better.
Okay, so what he's saying is what the mind can conceive of, the mind can do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he's giving a master key of some sort. But if the human mind can think it, then the human mind can make the body do it.
Yeah. And there's conversation and discussion, especially, like the voice in your head when you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
It's
what
actually
is the
not
master key? He talks about a master key. What is that?
It's really not about your subconscious. your being has already made the decision, and it's the voice in your head that will actually interfere
Jiminy Cricket
with that
on my
decision
right
making.
shoulder.
Yeah.
My conscious.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting. I watched this whole thing. I watched just people over and over. I specifically like.
Yeah. So is you
I
keep
like
mentioning Chris Stanley and well-read user and
Well, they're trapped. They're trapped in a bubble that unfortunately they created.
Mhm.
And
Did I am I trapped in a bubble that I created?
No,
Is
because
that an illusion?
No, because you are honest and you say, why do I even hang out with you people? Why do I
pay attention to you, Gay
Yeah,
Dumber?
why do I pay attention
Yeah.
to you? So you are consciously and subconsciously aware of all the nonsense going on, but you, because of who you are, your being, you're more apt at having a positive outlook on all of these things because the negativity really doesn't interest you. It has no fucking interest to you. Even though you're there.
It does interest me. It interests
Oh, it
me
does.
a lot.
Again, it does.
I kind of like it, gotta say.
Well, that's what
but
Alan Watts was saying.
I don't comment on it much.
Yeah, because you are at a place in your life where
Under the radar.
That's not your interest, and you rather play a different game, and that game is outside of what a lot of people.
The comfort, the validation, and there was another thing that he kept saying.
Yeah, you don't need comfort and validation and things like that. And
Right, but that's what what's his name was saying.
But deep down inside, you really do need comfort and validation because you are an emotionally distraught person.
Emotionally distraught. That's what Alan Watt was saying, that most relationships and friendships in particular were based on comfort, validation, and it wasn't acceptance. It was another thing. But he was saying that's only what they were based on. And then once you see through that illusion, then you can figure out.
Yeah.
But he kind of leaves out, and I think Anthony was saying this a little earlier, he kind of leaves out some things in that it's not an illusion when two people form a relationship based on mutual trust and all that.
Yeah, but that wasn't the argument, though.
It's not an illusion.
It's also not the argument.
It's a utility. I mean, we kind of need to do that. Form relationships based on illusions. Maybe not illusions.
So I sent this to my wife Heather, and she listened to it when she was getting ready, and then she listened to it again because I send her things a lot of times, and I'm like, you don't have to watch it.
I expect her to watch it.
So I sent this
even
one
though
to
you
her.
tell her, I don't expect you to watch this, but watch it.
Well, I think circumstances. So sometimes she does watch what I send her, and the reason why she felt like it made sense to her, and the reason why I felt like it made sense to me, is because we're in those two situations. Like Heather and I have been together since high school, before we were even 18 years old, and then we had a kid. We separated for 10 years. We got back together. We had a second kid, and now she's 11, and we're still together. So
you have two kids together?
Huh?
You have two kids together.
Yeah, one's 20 and one's 11. One's about to be 21. One's about to be. They're about to change age. Anyway,
almost replacement rate.
The likelihood of me finding someone like Heather, as explained from like Alan Watts, is especially for people who think like I do, is very low. And people like as I got older, I had less and less friends. And then once I got in my 40s, like I hang out with nobody. Like and I love it. Like I'll go sit on my front porch and just stare at the grass.
Be
and
alone.
Smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
And in my 30s it was a little bit different. And in my 20s it was completely different. And then but along that journey you over time find people who can because I'm a difficult person, she's a difficult person, but we can be with each other because there's no
be friends with people who want the best for you.
Yeah, like there's no animosity, there's no
that's rule number
jealousy,
5.
There's no wickedness, like there's no more arguments.
Make friends with people who want the best for you.
Yeah.
And I think you can sort of suss that out in no time at all. I mean, Gay Dollar, I think that you want me to do my best. I know I want you to do your best.
Yeah, I have no ill will. Like even people that annoy me or I annoy.
Oh, I've enjoyed your company for how long has it been now? 6 years?
Yeah.
You and I have been flirting back and forth.
So I had a friend named Mike Mallet, and when he went out for his first tour in Afghanistan, he was gone for 18 months or whatever the hell they do, 16 months. I don't know what it is. And he came back, and then when we saw each other, it's like, hey, dog, is like none of us even missed a beat. Like a day hadn't even passed.
Right. Yep.
We were like, yo, bro, what's up? Great to see you. And then, we're still friends, but there's no, there's.
That's not an illusion. It's not based on comfort, validation, and.
There's none of that in our friendship. And I think I have that type of. I think that's why, you come on my stream, because you and I have nothing to prove. Like, we enjoy each other's company. You're a gay dude. I'm a straight guy. People call me gay.
And we're still even.
Yeah, it works. And Anthony, the reason why Anthony fits certain people he hangs out. I mean, it's just so obvious. It's so fucking obvious. And I feel recently, specifically since the Corona thing has quelled, people have turned, certain people in our groups have turned to fucking psychopaths, and they've wholly just get drawn into this craziness. And there's people like Anthony who's like, okay, and there's people like yourself. You have a response, but it's completely different. I have a response, and it's different.
Yeah,
and I think it's like that understanding. Like I don't pressure you. I don't y'all two. There's no
don't shame me.
There's none of that. There's
you call me gay. Hey, gay boy. That's not shaming.
That's not. It's not. That's.
I know.
I call my fucking straight friends when I was gay, fat. All that was normal back in the day. It was.
Can you do a cartwheel? Can you do a cartwheel?
Sure. If I try.
Do one and film it.
I will do.
And then you will be one up on me.
Just a cartwheel?
We're kind of even. Okay, so remember when I flipped into my truck, and then you flipped into your Jeep? Okay, and then you sent me a picture of or a film of a guy holding himself up on a table and shooting targets. So I did that. I filmed myself doing that with Nerf guns, and I challenged you to, but you didn't.
I did not.
But then you beat me in the CGWF.
Right.
That match, you pinned me while you were wearing a bunny suit, which
digitally on
so
a video game.
That makes us even. That's 2 for 2. So if you do a cartwheel, you'll be one up on me.
Okay.
And film it and post it on X. You don't have to tag me.
I'll do it.
3. Okay, 1 cartwheel.
After I mow my yard this week, I'll do it.
All right. Okay.
So Anthony, your thoughts on The two different perspectives on life.
Napoleon versus Alan.
I don't know.
Anything the mind.
I can agree with both. I guess it's weird.
Like a zodiac, reading your zodiac.
Is that what it is?
Exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
What zodiac sign am I? Just guess.
I don't know about that stuff.
Gemini.
What's your guess, Gay Dollar? You only have 12 to choose from. How hard can it be? Pick one.
The crab.
I am a Gemini.
Gemini.
Anthony was right.
I'm a Sagittarius, and I only know that because I grew up around women who always look at that stuff.
I think everybody knows at least their own, even if they don't know the rest. You know.
I gave you my birthday and everything. It's not hard to figure out. I'm a Gemini.
I don't know when your birthday is though.
May 28th.
Oh.
60.
Yeah.
60.
You come off as a Gemini.
60. I come off as a Gemini.
And if I had to guess your Eastern zodiac, you're a rabbit.
I'm not sure. I think I'm a snake. I'm not sure. Okay.
Oh, how do you check that?
I can see.
1965. Type in.
How do you?
It goes by the year. So just put in Chinese zodiac and then your birth year.
1965 Chinese. Gosh darn it.
I'm the rooster.
What am I?
Yeah, they come to snuff the rooster.
Yeah.
Richie Duke
What are the
is a
snake?
Libra.
I'm a snake. 1965 Chinese zodiac, year of the wood snake.
Interesting.
I
don't know anything about that Chinese stuff.
I know I'm a snake.
The only reason why I know it exists is because when I go to Chinese restaurants, that's like the paper that they put under your plates.
Yes.
That's the only reason.
And they have little pictures too.
Exactly.
Like rats and snakes and
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, Richie's older. I didn't know Richie. I don't know what I thought.
I'm a dragon.
Good for
Dragon.
you. Good for you.
Yeah, I'm a Pisces and I'm a dragon. So if you put them together,
I was gonna guess your zodiac sign. God damn it.
I'm
You're a
a-
Pisces.
I'm a water and fire sign.
Huh.
What is Sagittarius? What is that? Weather.
That's they have a big
Sagittarius?
jug of something.
Now, how do you know your water sign? What do you?
Sagittarius
That's
is
water.
the ram, right?
No, that's Aries. That's Aries. Sagittarius is the water bearer.
I thought I was that bow and arrow guy.
Yeah, it's the bow and arrow guy. It's
That's Orion. That's
no, it's
you might be right.
it's the horse. You know what do they call it? Minotaur, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a fire sign.
Fire?
Whatever it is, it's a fire sign, but it's a minotaur with a bow and arrow. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I just don't.
What was your? You said rooster.
Yeah, rooster.
I don't know what element that is. I'll look it up. Rooster. Element.
I mean, I think it's.
Oh, I'm wood.
Metal, water, wood, fire, and earth.
Oh, I'm everything.
I'm wood.
Chinese New Year's February, birthdays in January.
The snake is associated with wisdom, charm, elegance, and transformation. People born in the year of the snake are believed to be intuitive, strategic, and intelligent. That's totally me, bro. Yeah.
Okay. I don't believe in any of that shit.
I do. It's good things about me. Why wouldn't I believe it?
just gonna keep saying it.
The dragon is part of the earthly branches of elements. So wood and fire are the two main ones. Earth, obviously, metal and water. But Pisces is all water.
Interesting.
It's why I'm very I guess moderate. You know, the whole devil's advocate, fence sitter thing. My temperament is very. I have a very, very long fuse.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when
you put it out every now and then?
When it does go off, I go off. You know.
Yeah.
I stopped being mad a couple years
Fire
ago.
breaks loose.
Yeah.
Sagittarius is the element of fire, archer, or
I
sentiment.
think when Testify died is when I stopped being mad.
Oh,
It's around that time.
rest in peace.
Linkovitz says the Chinese New Year starts in February and my birthday is in January. So, it goes by the year.
Yeah.
Right, but
I see what he's saying because technically, if you go by the 12 months,
right.
Oh
And,
yeah.
Yep.
his
Then
is the
eventually
12th
one has to
month.
be the first and one has to be the last. And
But I don't think the Chinese calendar is a 12-month calendar, is it?
I have no idea. I know that they have one.
why wouldn't
time-
it be? Why wouldn't
How
it be?
many months?
That's how fast the
in
Earth
the
spins. That's how fast the
Chinese-
Earth orbits the sun.
Chinese lunar calendar.
In China, they have one time zone.
For that big of a country, it's
That
that
whole
big
huge
on
Oh,
that.
okay.
Just
So,
one time zone.
so you know how we have our leap year is
Moon cycles. That's what Richie said.
one extra day.
Presidential elections.
Their leap year is a whole extra month.
Oh, so that's 28 months.
So
But the Chinese
basically-
calendar is like on year 6,000 or some shit like that.
Yeah. So basically, they're just they've adapted the Chinese calendar to our calendar.
And stuff them in fortune cookies and put them on your
so they
plate.
just go by the year. So yeah, you're a rooster.
Yeah, who stuck the
snake.
rooster?
Is there a year of the weasel? Is there a year of the weasel? They have weasels in China.
Yeah, so I'm assuming because they have a 13th month on the leap year, I don't even know how often their leap year is. I guess it would be every 4 years, right? Let's just assume that it is. That would push January into the current, the following year. So yeah, you're a rooster. Yeah, you're an Aries, Hal, dear. I am the 13th of March, which puts me smack in the middle of Pisces.
Right on the cusp.
No, I'm not on the cusp. I'm technically
right, smack them. Okay.
a Pisces 3. So each zodiac sign has four, for lack of a better term, sections.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like for Pisces, you have Pisces 1, 2, 3, and the cusp.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can actually go down to not just the week, but you can go down to the day. That's why, like, me and my buddy are a day apart, and we're so alike, but we're also very, very different. Mighty Healthy is a Pisces also. Happy belated. March 1st would put you Pisces 2, end of Pisces 1, beginning of Pisces 2.
Yeah, I can go for some Chinese food, bro. Oh, fuck. so good right now.
Well, if you look at the zodiac more of a like philosophy than a like spiritual intervention, it makes a little bit of sense.
Well, yeah. So the Chinese did their. They didn't have like the 10 Commandments and all that, even though they did have, you know, about 1,000 some odd years ago. Christian mercs that made their way there. Their calendar system was more of like a way.
Well, there's the lunar calendar, number one.
To give like a culture, some type of foundation on how you should be in civilization, you know, like, so it gave like this, it was a good tool. I think all of it's a bunch of nonsense.
High trust society kind of thing.
Yeah. You know.
Yep. Yeah, growing up in a big family socialized me a lot. I mean, I know how to live in a collective and still be an individual and have it all work out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'll just say.
It's scary. There is a book out there called The New Astrology. I think that's what it's called. And it combines Western and Eastern astrologies. So, and it's scary accurate though. Like
they have star charts and all that, and
no,
that was the way of life.
Stars look like.
It's basically just a breakdown of personality traits.
Yeah.
So like it. So like for me, like a Pisces dragon, right? Because I was born in '76, so Pisces dragon. It gives you a personality breakdown of somebody who was born in that month of that year.
It kind of actually sets a precedent and a thought in your head as a way to be. And that's kind of the intention that the Chinese had with their
but it's funny because
rationalization.
If you don't think that the universe has an influence on your life,
well,
James Tunney was saying this, that like if the stars align in a certain way and you're born, then that sort of.
But here's the thing, right? Like if you just read like a basic Pisces astrology, I really don't fit into it. If you read a basic dragon astrology zodiac, I don't really fit into it. There's certain things, but like,
all right,
it's very vague. But when you put the two together, I'll be right back. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
If you read out an astrology profile of whatever zodiac sign you are, and you don't tell me what zodiac sign it is, and you read it, would I say, oh, that's me, that sounds like me, I think I'm that?
It's designed that way. That's what I was saying. Like this whole zodiac thing for like the Pharyngians, going from the Hittite era, a little bit before the Hittites, they had trade and everything all the way with the Hans and the Manchus, whatever they were called coastally back then. There was open dialogue, and Anthony's like, it's so weird that they are similar, but that's by design because everyone stole shamelessly from each other. Like the Rig Veda, the Ahura Mazda, the Zoroastrians in their Trinity studies turned into what we know in the Bible.
So what did we say MJ Dollar was? Sagittarius Rooster?
Yes.
I'm going to find it.
Oh, what am I then? I'm a Gemini snake.
So like these guys have spent thousands and thousands of years of like mastering the little sheet of paper that's going to go under your bowl of ramen soup at the Chinese shop. Like, took a long time to get there.
What month are you born in again? What's Sagittarius?
December.
So
Jesus is a
it's gonna be
Sagittarius.
before Capricorn.
Yeah, Jesus was a Sagittarius.
There it is. Sagittarius pig. Sagittarius dog. Sagittarius rooster. Here we go. Let's see how accurate this is on J
Okay.
Dollar. Oh, hold on a second.
I'm curious. Did he die?
I hope not.
No, sorry. My cord from my lamp fell. I couldn't turn my lamp on, but I got it. All right. Buoyancy characterizes the Sagittarian rooster. He's a Twitter with chit-chat and a Gog with stories of adventure. The subject born under two of the most high-strung signs will be nervous, frank, candid, and a bit carried away with himself.
That's you, bro.
So far, we got J Dollar. The word is enthusiasm, but it's more than that. Sagittarius roosters are full of dash and elan. That might be a little off.
Elan, what does that mean?
Uh,
Go ahead.
It's hard to explain. They cut an impressive figure wherever they go, and they go everywhere. Despite the Sagittarius rooster's determination to cover half the globe by age 13, this person is deep down sensible and lives far more carefully than the impression implies. He or she will have noble aims. They entertain a kind of Robin Hood objective to rob from the rich and give to the poor. Not that Sagittarius roosters are thieves. There is no evidence to that effect, but they can be secret pirates, leering at those ships that pass in the night loaded with jewels and furs, yet denying themselves chicanery. The Sagittarian rooster is a lover of truth. He deplores phonies.
That is you, bro. That's you.
Interesting.
Sagittarius roosters are beset by their noble aims at a very young age. They would like to, quote, do good in the old-fashioned missionary sense. They may travel to Africa or India to help poor people, or they may stay closer to home and hire on as listeners in a suicide center.
Wait, what? Wait, what? You would either go to Africa or
they're being very verbose and basically saying that they tend to want to help people. Is basically what they're trying to say.
Is that true, Gay Dollar? Do you generally want to help people?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
You certainly don't do harm.
J Dollar does it in his own way, though, right? So J Dollar sees a world in a certain way. So for him, his help is going to be, yo, check out this stock, check out this Bitcoin, look how this is going up. Like he wants people to succeed and be stable, especially people he considers friends. So every now and then, once a week, in our little retard rehab green room, J Dollar's dropping like stock and Bitcoin news updates and telling us what to keep an eye on and stuff. He doesn't have to do that. He goes out of his way to do that.
Aw, that's so sweet, Gay Dollar.
Interesting. Very interesting.
But whatever they undertake is often disappointing to their starkly honest natures. No charity can be perfect. There's always a hitch. Somebody has a hand in the till if funds are being misused, or poor people in some distant land refuse to help for religious reasons. Philanthropy is mined with disappointment. For this reason, the Sagittarius rooster is often seen as disenchanted, locked in an ideal that won't let him or her lose, but that doesn't work either.
Are you disenchanted, Gay Dollar?
Oh,
with
yeah,
with Comicsgate?
Mm.
You stopped.
Oh.
You just, I'm not buying it anymore.
With
I'm
Comicsgate,
disenchanted.
yeah, I mean, that's, yeah, I just meant in general. Where'd I leave off?
I am an optimistic person, but I am acutely aware to what you just said. So yeah.
For some less resilient soul, this sort of delusion could lead to dejection and even self-pity, but not for the Sagittarius rooster. In a matter of days, you will find this character back on his feet, packing a suitcase yet for another foray into the wilds of humanitarianism. It's the old story, you can't keep a good man down.
Interesting.
With all, the Sagittarius
Or a good
rooster
cop.
has fairly good sense. He only seems reckless and acts boasting and cocky. Underneath, this person has his eye on the needle at all times and is monitoring his own progress critically. These people realize that freedom and adventure are too attractive to them and know that one day they must settle down or become patently ridiculous. When that day comes, Sagittarius roosters land themselves cushy jobs with serious titles on the doors, or simply
End
sit
of life
down
care.
and start writing books about their many exploits.
Mm-hmm.
Or start a YouTube channel and go over their philosophical beliefs.
Right.
I'm gonna make some coffee. Is that it?
Well, this is just the basic thing. So Sagittarius roosters have good manners, yet sometimes they can be snappy and brusque. A harsh remark in the midst of a seemingly ordinary, calm conversation is not unusual coming from these people. That is so you.
What does it say about Gemini snakes?
Hold on, wait. I'm almost done with the overall description. They are brutally frank. They thrive on adversity and challenge. They are not afraid to stoop to conquer, and they care greatly for friends and family. In fact, I would say that no matter where this person journeys in a lifetime, he or she will remain forever tied to duty and responsibility at home, a free spirit locked in the body of dutiful do-gooder. Maybe that's why Sagittarius roosters are always departing and leaving the barnyard door ajar so they can return to their favorite prison when the chips are down.
Oh, wow. Wow. Return to your favorite prison.
Then it actually breaks things down into like different things like love, compatibilities, home and family, and profession. Like it goes more in depth to those. But that what I read was like the basically overall outline of what it is. What were you again?
Gemini snake refers to the combination of the Western zodiac sign Gemini and the Chinese zodiac animal snake. This combination suggests someone with a Gemini's curious and communicative nature, combined with the snake's wisdom, charisma, and resourcefulness.
Here we go. Gemini.
This stream is sponsored by Cafe Bustelo.
Gemini snake. A paradoxical character is the Gemini snake. If he can get a good grip on the specialness that is his natural endowment from birth, their person is qualified for true greatness. The Gemini snake is a thinker. Imagine the lucky combination of reflection and intuition. The marriage of the two signs is fortuitous indeed. But the heady mixture of influences is a veritable minefield of pitfalls as well. People born in Gemini snake are sitting ducks for both. Byzantine self-delusion and rank laziness. Every single day of their lives. That is so true.
That's not true. Am I lazy?
Okay. Byzantine self-delusion and rank laziness. You're going to try to do a backflip by the time you're 60 while you sit on your ass on streams getting drunk. Yes, that is 100% true.
Damn it. All right. God, fuck.
Every single day of their lives, these people must bite the bullet and grit their pretty teeth just to get out of bed in the morning.
That's not true.
Invertebrate inertia fueled by an oddly sunny despair pushes Gemini snakes earthward and even often just won't let up. Maybe this yellow jaundice of the spirit comes from too
Yellow
much...
jaundice of the spirit. I have to write that down. Yellow. Spell that jaundice.
comes from
The
too much
spirit.
intuitive knowledge of the perils and disappointments each Gemini snake sees ahead. It is as if the person sensed how deeply he affects the world when he really tries, and for that reason simply desists before he begins.
What?
Basically,
I don't start.
yeah. It's inevitable that this combination of signs gives us a performing snake, the actor or actress with the overdeveloped brain, the show business personality with the weighty intellectual baggage,
That's
the
not
irresistibly
true.
cheery political figure with heartbreak written across his smile. The Gemini snake's hereditary dice are loaded.
Dear, that cuts deep, bro.
That is
That's
so
kinda-
you,
that's kinda
though.
me. That cuts deep. That hides this charming smile hides a deeper. Yeah.
So the Gemini snake suffers from excessive foresight. Before anything happens to him, he knows it's about to occur. While it's happening, he's relatively excited about it. But when it's over, he's convinced that maybe it wasn't worth the trouble and it might have been more fun to have a vacation instead.
That's not true. Well,
That is so true. Why do I bother even listening to
Yeah.
you people? Why do I
Not-
bother
no,
watching you
I'm like-
people?
I like to. Why do I pay attention?
Right,
to you?
right. Because
Not
in your
why do
head,
I bother? It's just
No,
why.
bec-
It's a simple question. It's a clean question. Why do I pay
listen,
attention?
you
to
come here, you have fun with us on a stream, or you go into chat and hang out, and then 2 days later you're on Twitter going, "Why do I even bother watching you people?"
Why do I pay attention? Why do I pay attention?
So you're excited while it's happening, and then after the fact, you're like, "Ah, God damn
Oh
it!"
fuck! Why did I? Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally you. Gemini snakes have to discipline themselves to engage in far-reaching and complex pursuits. Flip by 60. My man's been working at it for what, like 6 months now?
No, since February 2nd. Stand here like this and go like that and do a backflip. Since
They must
February
always
2nd.
bite. They must always bite off more than it seems that they can chew. The Gemini snakes need not only challenge, but he needs to develop an inner bulldozer to push him into things, encourage him to slither along and accept the cheers and notoriety that are his natural rewards,
I'm 90% sure I can
as well as
stand
his
here like
nemesis.
this and go like that and do a backflip. I'm 90%.
Oh, it is complicated to be a Gemini snake. Like every self-respecting snake, this person loves to be rich. Money and gathering of wealth can become a driving force in the Gemini snake's life. Trouble is, he's too smart to be too rich. Though he may enjoy opulence and be most comfortable in silken sheets, the Gemini snake finds the touch of the shekel distasteful and will seek ways to avoid it.
Just finds what distasteful? Read that again.
The
Finds
touch of
what?
the shekel. Basically,
touch of the
the
shekel.
touch of money, yeah.
The touch of money distasteful.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So like basically you like lavish things but you don't necessarily want them.
Okay.
When I think of the Gemini snake, an image of a lovely I thought this just stopped at furry. Hold on. When I think of the Gemini snake, an image of a lovely furry caterpillar creeps into my mind's eye. The pace is the same, to be sure, as is the promise. When you see a caterpillar, you know there will one day be a butterfly, ephemeral perhaps, but so glorious and so fantastic that its beauty leaves an indelible mark on your life. Temporary permanence is the personification of the paradoxical Gemini
Temporary
snake.
permanence.
Yeah.
What?
This is you, man.
Permanence. Yeah, it's a lofty goal. I'm 90% sure I can do it with help.
This person will surely prove to be fragile of health and testy to live with. There's
I'm
no
not.
such.
That's not true.
You're not testy to live with?
No, I'm not. I'm not difficult to get along with. I'll say.
They're not saying that. They're just saying you're testy to live with.
What does that mean, testy?
Do you live alone?
No,
Who do you live with?
my family.
Ask them if they think you're testy to live with.
Okay.
There's so much going on inside this creature that frequently he cannot be bothered seeing to day-to-day material necessities. He wants to use his mind to soar off in 20 mental directions at once, to invent some new philosophy, to change the world, to inspire his fellow man. Why do you persist in asking him to scrub the floor when you know full well that he cannot, does not, will not ever care one way or the other if that stupid floor gets itself scrubbed or not? The Gemini snake is above it all, really.
That's not true.
The Brightwood.
I'm not above it all. I'm not above it all. I can clean a floor. I can scrub a commode. I can. That's not true.
This is totally you. What are you talking about? The Brightwoody Company of Gemini Snakes gives us all the great pleasure. These subjects are never boring. Their agile mind follow every train of thought you dart from flower to flower, doing justice to each and every one.
Not everyone.
You can talk with his fellow for hours, jabber, chat, and hash and rehash till you come up with a whole new way of looking at something. Gemini snakes are inspiring and thoughtful of others. They are persuasive, seductive, and remarkable in every way. If this
Seductive. I'm seductive. Yes, I'm seductive.
If this person can begin a task, conquer his latent sloth, and dive into a real personal project, he will always be a natural winner. Nose to grindstone and one eye in the cleanest, most truthful mirror available. Then onward and forever upward he will fly.
So since February 2nd, I've done 35 videos of me preparing to do a backflip like this.
Yes, that's you pushing yourself and giving yourself some kind of preemptive motivation. We already talked about that like 5 paragraphs ago.
I'm still catching up. It's also exhausting.
Interesting.
Linkovich, why do I pay attention to you people?
Why do I pay attention to you people?
But I'm telling you, when you put them together, it's pretty friggin' spot on. I mean, of course, there's always going to be something that's a little off here or there.
Yeah.
But,
all right. 85% accurate.
That was like 90% accurate.
I don't think so.
So did y'all hear Roseanne Barr was on Alex Jones the other day?
Was she?
She's been hanging out with him. She's like been doing her show there and shit.
I like her. Way more than...
This will be the last thing we listen to before, are we done with our astrology lesson?
Well, mine's shorter. I'll read mine.
Okay, do yours.
Yeah. What are you?
I'm a Pisces dragon.
Pisces dragon. Okay.
The fish born in dragon cares greatly for his or her own advancement. This person needs to feel progress. Standing still renders him nervous and edgy. So when there is no progress, if he is not moving ahead, he travels. One thing is sure, the Pisces dragon is a mover. He may be running or walking, swimming or taking a train, but the fish born in dragon ambulates. From the Pisces side of his nature, this subject gains perspective. For a dragon who knows better than anyone how to brag himself into first place, the tepid waters of Pisces are a boon. Pisces cools the dragon's exaggerated gusto and dampens his fire to a smolder.
Oh, wow.
In certain cases, Pisces slows the dragon too much, and the green scaly monster becomes an appealing but rudderless wastrel, a shadow of his dragonly self.
Wow.
This last state can be dangerous for the Pisces dragon's well-being, as dampened dragon spirits may increase the Pisces don't give a damn attitude.
Damp your dragon, Dark Gift.
So far, this is totally me.
Yeah. Damp.
What should be emphasized for the benefit of the Pisces dragon is self-discipline and perseverance. Both of these signs are past masters at slinking out of the practice sessions. This person will surely try to have him or herself excluded from drills and rehearsals.
Oh.
Which I did all the time during marching band practices. This person, the dragon born in Pisces thinks he knows enough already, and were others to ask his advice, a lot more could be accomplished in a shorter time, so why hang around being bored? That's so me. Here's the rub. Pisces dragons always thinks they know best. They barge ahead in almost every situation they encounter, doing exactly as they please. They may think they are barging in the name of some ideal, but they give no thought to whether the rest of us agree with said ideal. That's me.
True. That's true. Because you could give a flying fuck what anybody else thinks.
but they give and other sign combinations, dragons who push and shove and take over can be told off. Go back to your cave dragon and wait till we call you. But it's very difficult to tell off a Pisces dragon. He is narcissistic and defensive in the extreme. He is unsure of himself and may compensate by designing and constructing emotional storms, the tears from which might extinguish the sun itself.
There's the fish and the dragon. So the fish is like a water, but the dragon is like fire. So the water quenches the fire. But it sounds like the water is in control and not the fire.
Right, but what it's saying here is like I said before, I have a very long fuse, but when it finally does go off, it goes off. That's what it's saying here. The person spins a web of charm so attractive and convincing that even he believes in it. He or she will come on so strong with an idea or plan that you cannot possibly doubt its feasibility. Pisces dragon doesn't know about halfway measures. He or she will be going to do it all. Then one day you see him in the street and say, "Hey, Dragon Pisces, little boy, how's that company you're putting together?" Or what about your skyscraper out in the backyard? The Pisces dragon pulls himself up tall and looks disdainfully downward. Which one was that, pal? He wonders. Now, what is so exciting about this? Yeah, that's me. I've got too much shit going. I've always got too many plates.
Yeah.
I've always got too many plates going, yeah. Now, what is so exciting about his character is his or her charm and good health. The Pisces dragon may be bumptious and a bit too plucky at times, but the real Pisces self, the Lucy in the sky with diamonds, faraway look, and the long-lashed eye, the laughs and the jokes and the giggles and pokes, that is what makes a Pisces dragon a joy to be around. He's always got a quip for you. She's always on the verge of dashing off to do her jogging and then to the health club afterwards. That's not me. To do the vegetarian. No, it's not me. Pisces dragon, when they don't lay it on too thick, are adorable companions. Oh, yeah, that's me. But they are not world beaters. They can live quite happily in the background once they get it through their heads that skyscrapers and backyards are impractical and overblown. They can rely on advisors and live from dispensing smiles to people who love their dolce far niente approach. Pisces born in dragon years will be touchy and argumentative until they finally stop trying to prove themselves. Then they will become efficient in a chosen profession, stay in a pleasant rut, and cruise around all day dreaming about what to make for dinner.
Yeah, it wasn't an astrology cast. We were looking at two different philosophical approaches to life earlier, and somehow we turned into astrology.
Yeah.
It was,
I don't know how it happened.
But it was
Alan
right?
Watt and Napoleon Hill.
It was Alan Watts and Napoleon Hill's fault.
And all of a sudden, we found out what a Sagittarian rooster, a Gemini snake, and
Pisces dragon
are like. And they were all pretty spot on, gotta say.
Yeah, they were. When was that printed? That book you have. When was that printed?
You're reading from a book. I thought you were getting from a website.
Nah, that bitch went and got his book from
Oh, okay. Attaboy, Anthony.
New Astrology, copyright 1986.
Wow. No shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Spot on. It was okay.
I would say that was pretty like 90% accurate
I'm
for each
saying
one of us.
85% ish. What do you think, Gay Dollar?
For me, high 80s, 90% ish.
Yeah, I would say it was 90% for each one of us. Yeah.
It's very interesting.
And that was just the outline. Like that is each breakdown is only a paragraph long, but it does like love, compatibility.
We're
not going to read those. But it does break each one of those down a little more.
Yellow jaundiced soul. Poor man.
7 of 9's yellow jaundiced soul. Is my soul jaundiced? My face might be, but is my soul jaundiced?
Yes.
Isn't it? My soul is jaundiced. My liver, my soul's liver is bad.
Well, I wanted to show this. Did y'all see what the Spawn 363 cover A looks like?
No. Oh, that's
Look
nice.
at that.
Who drew it? That's not McFarlane?
I did.
It's some 3D artist guy.
That's 3D art?
Yeah, he does like 3D art and does coloring over it to make it look like that.
Yeah, that looks more 2-dimensional than 3-dimensional.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking dope. I saw this, I was like, oh shit. But it's like 363. I ain't gonna buy it. That issue ain't worth shit. But anyway. Where they're actually, I wanted, one second. Let's see here. Here it is. Have y'all seen this?
No.
Oh, you better fucking load.
I'm going to say no.
There it goes.
Oh, yes, I have seen this. God bless him. I know. Me too, little buddy. Me too. I've had a few too many fermented pears in my time.
He's holding on for dear life.
I want more.
Like, I gotta hold this bowl.
He's gotta go back to his wife and his kids.
That's like your drunk friend holding onto the wall at the bar. You know?
Yeah, okay. Elephants do that too. There's a lot of animals that eat fermented fruit and get drunk. David Attenborough did a thing with elephants did that.
I didn't know that. Well, I know like deers and shit do.
I saw a video, or it was like a dog, right? And the guy, it was a guy or a girl, I can't remember who was filming, but like the person holds up a half empty bottle of vodka, goes, this was a full bottle. The dog must have got to the bottle, chewed the cap off, and drank half a bottle of vodka. Yeah. And they proceed to laugh and videotape the dog trying to walk.
Taking it to the vet.
You got to take it to the vet. Yeah, it could die.
You get used to it. I don't even see the code. All I see is Jew.
You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying.
You said? Yeah.
Do you know what I'm pointing at?
You get used to it. I don't even see the code. All I see is Jew.
Do you understand?
You're so bad, man.
Oh shit.
You're like so borderline anti-Semitic. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
That far away. They're close.
Here you go, guys. That's me.
Yeah. That's exactly what your your horoscope said. That's the meme version of your Chinese Western zodiac.
Fighting a job.
Oh shit.
Sagittarius rooster, you. I can do that. I can do that. I can't do that. I won't do that. I can.
Oh!
Are you shitting my dick?
She just failed. Look at the face print in the slide.
Look at that. That's perfect. Oh, boo.
Oh no.
He deserved that.
You ever see the one where the pole falls?
You're worried about me doing a backflip, and this guy is wearing high heels. He's on a pole in his house in front of the fireplace.
Why is he wearing heels?
Are you okay?
Oh, it's a chick. Okay, never mind.
It's a chick.
no.
Let's do it again.
I love watching other people hurt.
Why would you do that to a porta potty anyway? Oh.
Girl now?
This was an accident.
What is
this guy.
Oh!
Scorpion down this.
Are you shitting my dick?
Mm.
Oh, baby.
She just failed. Look at the face print.
The face, that is beautiful. That is a work of art.
It's like the Shroud of Turin.
It's no.
Oh man.
Oh shit.
That is a priceless image.
Oh, boo. What the hell was he trying to do?
A backflip.
It was a guy in the back.
Yeah, I know. What was he trying to do though? Like he was up with his feet on the island and his hands on the counter.
And his head on the yeah. Go back.
And then he pushed up. It was the weirdest thing I ever saw. Yeah, watch.
All right.
Alexa, stop. Are you okay?
Alexa, stop.
No, not her. No, keep going with the guy on the counter.
Oh, you want to see that one again?
Yeah.
The guy on the counter. Yeah, I got to see what he was trying to do.
Because it looks like kind of what I'm.
Oh! Yeah, she just failed. Look at the face print in this.
This guy. Okay, look. Stop. Okay, there. He's got. Okay, look at him. What is he trying to do?
And then watch.
His little arms came out. His hands slip.
Like they come right off. Like
they come right off.
It's like he pushed up, right?
Like what was he trying to do? A crab. He was trying to do a crab.
I think what he was trying to do was like.
Does he hit his head on the counter?
Push and land standing on the counter. Play it in full speed.
Point. Oh. What was?
Yeah, he was trying to stand up on the island. Yeah. And
You think so?
He didn't have enough leg or upper body strength.
I can do that. I can do that. I can totally. How many coins was that? I have that many.
You can't do that.
You think I can't? I'm gonna prove it.
Oh, I played it. All right, good. This is a good one. I was hoping it would play this.
But in the 90s and 2000s, every stand-up comedian was like, "Oh, you're Catholic? Let's get the child molestation." To whatever degree that's true, it's way worse in synagogues or in public schools. I think public schools have a 10x higher rate of child abuse than the Catholic Church. So if you're going to be scared of something, you should be scared of public schools. What you need to provide for your children is protection from pharmaceuticals.
Oh, you're going to do it? Okay, hold on.
With 4 quarters.
So the whole thing with the oh, he froze.
Frozen?
No,
am I still frozen?
You're
Can
good.
You see the
good.
quarter. Okay, all right. I got one.
How many were there?
4. I can't do that.
So the problem with the Catholic Church thing was there was that one big scandal. What was it in New York?
That shuffling around.
No, but there was the big one, like where they found like
when they're shuffling around the.
Well, in the late 80s, when the Vatican started paying a lot of interest to South America, that's when you started having, like when police officers and firefighters like reduce the qualifications you need to be a firefighter or a police officer.
Right.
The Vatican in the late 80s, early 90s. Actually, I will show a video about a little bit of that. They
Hey, Phil.
They started to really. It was Pope Benedict's fault, and he was the main shuffler of the bad priests.
Yeah.
And then his main right-hand man, who was the Secretary of State for the Vatican, got a lot of trouble. And then that's when Pope Benedict stepped down, and that's how you ended up getting Pope Francis. So
was he
that
the
was
only
it
pope
was
to resign? Can popes resign? Was he the only pope?
no, you can't. No, they cannot. They cannot. So after John Paul II kind of went away, that's when they really started to play. Like
Well, John Paul II was what, 90?
I'm ready for Pope the First or
Pope the First Black.
J. Dollar the First.
No,
Trump. Yes, Trump. As
Donald.
Pope, yes.
What would you call him? Donald.
Trump.
Pope Donaldus.
Pope Donaldus the First.
First. Yes. Yeah.
There would have to be a second for him to be.
But I kind of blame the 80s for the church really kind of falling apart.
Well, yeah, it was like the late 80s to mid 90s when, like I said, that one big scandal here on the East Coast happened, and it was like it made national news back before like national news was like something like that. Like, usually national news was really more like weather disasters and war back then. You know what I mean? Like,
oh shit, this is going on tonight. This is Portland. What's going on in Portland?
Portland, Oregon. The
I
homos
guess
are
they're back at it, aren't they? Look at this. This is tonight. This is all tonight.
Antifa's back.
Hurrah, hurrah.
Can
The
we
homos are
invade?
marching on Portland? Hurrah, hurrah.
Can we invade Oregon and Washington State? And
We should. I think it's our obligation.
Can't we just like annex them away?
yeah.
I don't
Look
see
at this.
anything
This is
stopping us. Any
Just
laws.
give them to Canada.
No. We should keep it. Take parts of Canada.
No, be like Canada. We were kidding about like making you the 51st state, but would you mind taking Washington and Oregon off our hands?
yeah. Give us like a part of Canada.
We'll
We
drop
should
the tariffs.
cede no
if you-
ground. We should cede no ground.
It's
Don't give
tainted
them-
ground.
It's ours. We should not give it up to Canadians. We shouldn't let California be its
Listen, sharing is caring. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
If anything, Canada should be the 51st state. They cannot have Washington or state.
Sorry.
We're going to have Canada. How about that?
Yeah, you couldn't. I'd rather go to an Arab country than go to Washington.
I wouldn't. I'd get thrown off a building.
You know what I mean?
I don't want to go to an Arab country. You don't.
Well, yeah, you'll get thrown off a roof. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It would, okay. I'd film it though the whole time with my phone, saying, "Hey, splat."
Excuse me. But let's
Yeah, that's your jaundiced soul talking.
I don't have a jaundiced soul.
You just said you were going to film your death as you splatter on the ground.
That's not jaundice, is it? That's.
No, it's not.
If I go to the Middle East and I get thrown off a building, I would want to film it on the way down. Let's just say.
Interesting.
I don't want to go to any Arab countries. Why would I? When I can just read about them and don't have to deal with them face to face.
Here's a little bit of info. Some education.
Italian banker Roberto Calvi is on the run. He has spent a lifetime working for Banco on a quiet night.
All right, so
I have to pee.
who was a pope in the 70s? John Paul I, and then who was the one before him?
Oh, I don't remember.
There was a year
before
of
John.
3 popes right around then, wasn't there? Because there was a pope that died, and that was in the 80s, maybe late 80s, and then a pope was elected, and he died like less
33
than a year
days.
later.
33
Right.
days.
And there was another one.
Yeah, and that's how John Paul
It's one of those.
II, because he was able to get all of the shenanigans under order as best he could in the situation that was given to him. So what are you going to do when the whole church is corrupt?
Night in 1982, Italian banker Roberto Calvi is on the run. He has spent a lifetime working for Banco Ambrosiano, a bank whose biggest customer is the Vatican. But now he's a fugitive, desperately trying to escape the long arm of the law. An Italian smuggler arranged for him to be driven overnight to Austria, where he shuttled between several cities for a few days before boarding a private charter in Innsbruck for a flight to London.
I have the popes. From 58 to 63 was St. John the 23rd. From 63 to 78 was St. Paul the 6th. From 78 to 78 was John Paul the 1st.
All right.
And then John Paul the 2nd from 78 to 2005. What is BL? These are all saints.
BL is like another title that they got. So you should probably be able to click on it, like Benedictine Lutheran or something like that. Benedictine liturgy.
Before St. John the 23rd, from 39 to 58, was VEN period Pius the 12th.
Yeah, Venerable Pius the 12th, and he was the Hitler Pope.
Was he a good pope or a bad pope?
Bad Pope.
Bad pope.
Bad Pope.
Hmm.
All right, so as I was just saying, while the Vatican was trying to get money out of South America, they had other banks trying to take money out of other areas.
After arriving in London, he finally can catch his breath. He has no idea what fate awaits him.
Mr. Calvi, dismissed as head of Italy's second largest private bank, had been missing for 9 days. The police said a stroller came across his body early Friday, hanging from the scaffolding of Blackfriars Bridge over the Thames River in the heart of London's financial district.
So
it means blessed, by the way.
So he's blessed. So he's not saint. He's not a saint yet. He's blessed.
Right.
And so this banker hid a lot of money from gangsters, because the bank, not only was it the bank for the Vatican, but it was the bank for gangsters. So
For centuries, the Catholic Church has been a monumental pillar of human history. From the echoing halls of the Vatican to the humblest of rural chapels, its influence has permeated every corner of the globe. But it is also a powerful financial institution with the world's largest real estate collections and vested interests in a vast number of corporations.
The Vatican owns more than 5,000 church and investment properties around the world, a central office at the Catholic Church revealed for the first time Saturday, according to several news outlets.
Well, I think every Catholic who reads a story like this ends up caring, because in the end they want to know where their money is going.
The Vatican's need to generate revenue, like any large institution, has occasionally led to decisions that some could perceive as morally ambiguous.
It is the height of the Renaissance, and Italy is the epicenter of this movement, with major contributions in painting, sculpture, literature, and architecture. Around this time, the Vatican is a powerful entity in Europe, exerting considerable political power, influencing rulers, and governing a substantial territory in central Italy known as the Papal States. To maintain its power, the Vatican needs an ever-growing source of income. It relies on a brilliant strategy to take Vatican finances to the next level: selling indulgences.
The church found the money it needed in the selling of so-called indulgences, a 6th century invention whereby the faithful paid for a piece of paper that promised that God would forgo any earthly punishment for the buyer's sins. The Vatican set prices according to the severity of the sin, and they were initially available only to those who made a pilgrimage to Rome.
This strategy has brought significant income to the Vatican, causing its assets to skyrocket. But what the church doesn't realize is that this strategy for generating extra income is quickly getting out of control.
The licentious lifestyle of the papal court and the widespread abuses in selling indulgences became a rallying cry for Martin Luther and the Reformation.
Ultimately,
it was interesting. Martin Luther's wife was a princess. And the Holy Roman Empire at the time, even though it wasn't called that, still had a lot of family members spread throughout what we know as Germany and Eastern France, north of the Swiss, the Rhine River merchants, and all those guys. And the Martin Luther's wife, the princess, her family and the other extant families of those regions of like Hesse and the East Saxon area and from Burgundy of France to Wallachia and those regions, they were really pissed at what Rome was doing, because not only were they starting this whole post office thing, really, which came out of Rome, they were buying. So like when a certain family member died, their whole swaths of land would go to the Roman church or to synagogues.
Really?
And Germany, because
the family.
Yeah, they would just give everything to the church or to Jewish synagogues and things like that.
Wow.
And people like Martin Luther's family were getting really pissed off because they were losing large swaths of land, and vineyards and textiles and shit like that. And they're about to talk about Peter's Pence, which, remember, Pope Francis, he got caught embezzling Peter Pence's donations and buying properties in London. And he was using his main advisor, who was his art advisor, skimming off of Peter Pence and buying luxurious properties in York and in London proper, Corporation London, and then London City itself. So it's
if you could go back in time and insert yourself and take over any one of these like bankers positions or the people, who would you pick? And then,
well,
let's say when you go back in time, you stay there, but you can get married and have babies.
I would have tried to take over the Benedictines and the Cistercians, and then through getting a hold of the Benedictine monks and the Cistercian monks, you could have possibly changed the way the Templars, because essentially the Crusades were over, and then they were working their way into Poland and all that. That's where you had the Knights Templar, the Knights Hospitalators, and all those guys. That's how those guys were created. And then when the Vatican disassembled the Crusader bunch and the Hospitalator bunch, they took all their gold and wealth, and all the families from like Andorra, which is north of Spain, south of France. So from like Vienna to Andorra to the modern borders of like Antwerp and all that, they got all the money. And you ended up having like the Knights Templar coming out of that, and they were able to function. They were able to,
that looked like crosses, like the hilt of their sword.
yeah, like, and so what they were able to do is they were able to steal everything from Anatolia, which is Turkey. They stole everything from there to the Seine River in France. So, and every river in between, they stole everything. And that's how they became the Templars. And they are the bankers today. And they train in like London and shit like that. The Emperor of Japan, his wife is Templar trained. She's banker trained. And
Xi Jinping's wife?
no, Japan, not China.
Oh, Japan. Oh, Abe.
Yeah. Anyway, back to this.
Martin Luther's Reformation transforms the religious world. But for the Catholic Church, it also represents a major financial setback. But approaching the end of the 18th century, the Vatican will suffer an even worse financial catastrophe. In 1789, a crisis is brewing in France. After decades of growing anger with the government, a revolution erupts, culminating in the overthrow of the monarchy and the establishment of a republic.
And so this is when the Bavarians took over the Masons and all that. And this is Andorra that I was talking about, from Andorra to Antwerp.
Andorra is on the coast of Spain.
It's a nation in between
border, France,
Spain, and France. And Andorra is where the throne of France is today. So France is still a monarchy, but it's controlled by the Vatican through Andorra.
Okay.
And so when a president becomes the president,
France is not Catholic though.
France is Catholic and many other things.
Huh. They're strange, the French.
Yeah. So the people who run France is the co-bishop of Andorra, which is a bishop who answers to the Pope, and the co-prince of Andorra, which is the president of France. And they sit on the throne of Jupiter, essentially, which is the red face.
Europe is thrown into chaos once again. But one man uses this chaos as a ladder, Napoleon Bonaparte, who rises to power in the aftermath of the revolution. He immediately sees the advantage of controlling the papacy. By 1798, French forces have invaded Rome itself, proclaiming a Roman Republic and effectively ending papal rule over the city.
And then what they did is they put King Louis the 14th, 13th, or whatever he was, they put him in the temple. And the temple was an old Knights Templar shrine / training ground. And they put Louis and Anne and Louis's son in the temple.
Okay.
Pope Pius VI dies on August 29th, 1799, in Valence, France, still in French captivity. The fall of the Vatican and the subsequent death of Pope Pius VI nearly bring the Roman Catholic Church to an end. In the 1830s, after the upheaval of the Napoleonic Wars and the Congress of Vienna in 1815, the Papal States are restored to papal control, but the Vatican is in a dire financial situation. Desperate for enough funding to remain operational, the Church reaches out to an unlikely financier, the Rothschilds.
No.
Oh,
Not them. Not them.
And you remember, because we've gone over this on my other channel that's been deleted and everything, the Rothschilds who run the Rothschilds at this time are not the Rothschilds
of the past
from a few hundred years before this. They've already been married into
third generation, fourth.
Yeah, so
Third or fourth generation.
well, so from essentially the 1600s to the mid 1800s, it took about 200 years to take over that family. And Rothschild's family is only about 400 years old. And so of its 400 years or so, plus or minus a few decades, the families that run that family today are completely different than the families that ran them the first 150 years.
Speaking of Rothschild, did you see that there's a new comic book character? I think he's a mutant called Schwarzschild.
Shut up.
No, I have not. And hello, good day, Dillard.
Schwarzschild.
I swear to God, when it rains, it pours.
Hello, John Dillard.
What's up, Dylan?
Guess where I just got back from?
Where'd you
No
get
idea.
from?
Dinner. Cinco
The
de Mayo.
hospital.
Oh, God
What?
damn it.
What?
My mother called me up.
Are you okay?
She was like, "I need a ride. I need you to come get me. I'm in the grocery store. I think I overdosed on my pain medication. My heart. What do they call that? Cardio. What do you call that when you got high blood pressure?
High blood pressure.
I don't know.
I think she fucking double dosed on some blood pressure medication.
Bless her.
Because she was
is
all
she
lightheaded. Yeah, she's back home now, but I was in the ER with her for a while. Normally, my sister handles this stuff, but she couldn't get a hold of her. I think she's actually out of town in Big Bear.
That's crazy, man.
Family.
God damn. So she left. She left AMA, but it's because they wanted to keep her for observation and they wanted to give her an MRI. And the last time that happened, it took 4 fucking days to get an MRI in the hospital. So she was like, "Nope, I'm out of here. Goodbye."
How old is she?
Huh?
How old is she?
70?
My mom stopped taking a lot. She still
I'll
takes.
tell you
her
what she's not doing. She's not doing backflips. I'll tell you that.
Well, you know. Give her a pill. She'll be doing them in no time.
Warfarin? I don't know how to say it. Warfare.
No, it's not warfarin. It's what? I actually have it on my phone, I think, Sheldon.
I know my old.
I backed the Buckler today on Fund My Comic.
Oh yes, he did. Yes.
I did. The catch-up tier. I have one Buckler comic book right now. But I'll have the whole catch-up tier.
Yeah, you're about to have all of them.
Yeah.
Amlodipine?
Not a clue.
Well, there you go.
Salicylic acid.
No, isn't that for like if you want to make your face look like you're young and hot?
No, that's just aspirin.
Salicylic acid?
Salicylic acid is just aspirin.
I don't like taking aspirin.
I don't need to take aspirin.
I'd rather take ibuprofen.
I don't need to take pain relievers.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I couldn't.
Oh shit! It's 3:30. I gotta jump off.
I was
Damn,
just
it's
talking
that
about the Buckler book that just got mailed to my house.
Did it?
Wait, you have a wait. What happened?
I got a Buckler book mailed to my house, but my camera's not working. I don't know why.
Son of a bitch! I want to see your Buckler book, Dillard.
the hardcover, right? The
Yeah,
compilation.
I want to see hardcover.
No, and that's not a hardcover. It's just a fucking trade paperback.
Oh.
Oh, I thought it was hardcover.
I want to see it anyway. Fix your camera.
I'm trying, baby. It's not working.
Okay. Oof.
You may just have to go to settings and just switch the camera to the actual one.
Nope. No, I was doing this earlier too. I tried to go on another stream. My camera wasn't working. I probably got to restart my computer.
Oh, okay.
And I don't feel like doing that.
Yeah, I was going to mention my my old boss, Jody. He got caught stealing money, and he took all of his diabetes pills in a Walmart parking lot. And some random black lady found him like just having a seizure in the car. And somehow he survived that shit, man. He was in the hospital for like months. They put him in an induced coma for like a few days, a day or two.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
And they're talking about astrology in the chat. I told this astrology joke and I thought it was brilliant. And nobody liked it. I was in this I forget where I was. I was on one of these CG shows, right? Like guy got a comic, he also has a channel, whatever. And this lady was all about, crystals and gems and rocks and shit and auras and all that. And she started talking about astrology. And I was like, I don't believe in astrology. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm skeptical by nature.
You're a Sagittarius? Is that true?
No, it was just a joke I heard a long time ago that I thought was hilarious, And they all looked at me like I was like I was being 100% serious and like, are you?
They went right over their head, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, well, never mind. God damn it.
All right. So my initial guess is that John Dillard is a Leo ox.
No, I'm a Taurus.
Oh, a Taurus. Oh, that's a bull and an ox. Okay, that's Taurus.
Yeah, it's May 16th is my birthday.
Taurus. What are the Chinese ones?
10 days. My birthday's in 10 days. What are you gonna get me for my birthday?
Oh shit!
I backed your book today. Happy birthday.
Yeah, but what are you gonna get me for my birthday?
Nothing.
What year were you born, Dylan?
1984. And thank you so much for backing my books up.
You're welcome.
1984 Chinese.
He was reading whole damn.
I'm gonna be 41.
You're a rat.
Oh, Dillard's a rat. A Taurus.
I'm a
rat.
Taurus.
A Taurus rat. Okay, can we try to suss out what a Taurus rat is? Like a Taurus is a bull and a rat is a sneaky rodent.
Hold
Taurus. It's gonna. All right. Dillard, are you all this?
Hold on, I'm getting a call from my mom right now. Let me see what she wants.
All right.
I'm sure
Tell
it's
you,
not go back to
you're
the
a
hospital.
rat. A bull charges. A rat slinks. A rat hides. Bull's out front.
Okay, here we go. Taurus rat.
That's a dichotomy. One's big, one's small. Power, stealth.
We'll wait till Dillard gets back for that.
Yeah.
Sneaky. Yeah.
In the 1830s, the Rothschild banking dynasty established itself as a key player in international finance.
I can tell when someone's lying. It's kind of a thing I do. So, who are you? I am Felicity.
By stationing its members across key European cities, Frankfurt, London, Paris, Vienna, and Naples, the Rothschilds were extensively involved in government finance, issuing bonds and lending money to states, especially during times of distress when higher interest rates could be charged. And at the time, there is one powerful entity in Europe in such financial distress. In 1831, Gregory XVI became Pope. He knows the Vatican might not survive long unless there is an immediate cash infusion. For the first time in the Church's history, the Vatican decides to borrow money from the most prominent Jewish banker. James de Rothschild, head of the family's Paris-based headquarters, becomes the official papal banker. One of his brothers, Karl, who runs the family's Naples branch, begins traveling to Rome to consult with the Pope.
Their financial empire prompted a mixture of envy and resentment among church officials. Most traditionalists, who referred to James as the leader of international Jewry, were appalled that the church had resorted to Christ killers for financial succor. French poet Alfred de Vigny wrote that a Jew now reigns over the Pope and Christianity. He pays monarchs and buys nations.
Do what?
Financial succor, S-U-C-C-O-R. Financial suck. I'm going to suck on the financial teat.
All I gotta say is, so far, the very first paragraph is totally Dillard.
Is it? Read it.
No. We'll wait till he gets back. So we gotta go over it.
Oh, he's not here. Okay.
Rothschilds lend the Vatican 40 million euros in today's money. It becomes a lifeline that the Church desperately needs. The unlikely alliance is forged, and with the Rothschilds' influence, the Church begins a series of financial reforms, which mean more ways for the Church to accumulate assets.
Historically, the Vatican collected money through what is called Peter's Pence. It dates back to at least the 8th century, and it has its roots in England, where Anglo-Saxon kings collected annual tax for the land to support the Pope.
This donation, known traditionally as Romascot, was collected on the feast of Saints Peter and Paul and was sent to the Pope as a gesture of solidarity and support for the papacy.
But for the Catholic Church at the time, that income source alone is not sufficient, and they soon begin to sell bonds to the Catholic faithful. These bonds are essentially financial instruments that individuals can purchase, thereby loaning money to the Vatican with the promise of repayment, often with interest.
This method allowed the Vatican to raise the necessary funds while engaging the faithful directly in supporting the papal mission.
But the Vatican doesn't stop.
Are you back?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Anthony. You there, Anthony? Are you alive?
Yeah. Read. Oh, is he muted?
Dark Gift, where are you?
A Taurus rat. We have to know about Taurus rats.
Is that okay? So a Taurus rat is different than a Taurus something else?
Yeah, I'm a. What am I? A Gemini snake.
It's the month.
Gemini snake.
It's the month you were born, and the Japanese or the Chinese year.
Yep.
Astrological sign.
But what if I was born in LA?
Good for you.
It's the year you were born.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't born anywhere near China.
A Taurus rat. Dark Gift is reading from a book. He's not.
So far, these have been like, all right, so like Eastern and Western astrology seem to be pretty much bullshit, but when you put the two together, they're like 90% accurate.
It rings. It has a tone. Yeah.
All right, so we got what, Taurus rat?
Yes.
Taurians born in rat years benefit from a happy accident. Rats are overly hyper, but the Taurus mitigates the rat's piano wire nervousness But to the lumbering Taurus personality, rats add spice, pizzazz, and a hefty pinch of calculation. The Taurus rat is a combination of William Shakespeare and the Ayatollah Khomeini. Tough, bright, with the nerves of steel and natural superiority. It is the maintenance of well-earned position that essentially interests the Taurus rat. He likes power, but he doesn't necessarily want dominion over others. He can be ardent, but he will not step down from his pedestal of dignity to slobber over a love affair. Wow. You will never see a sloppy Taurus rat.
Yeah.
Taurus rats have enormous appeal and are capable of ruse, the likes of which you are unlikely to encounter in any other sign. They are strong-minded and strong-willed, but rather than stomping down on the accelerator in order to win the race, the Taurus rat may lean back in his driver's seat, ponder, take his dictaphone mic in hand, and slowly, deliberately deliver just the razor-sharp tactical stroke of genius necessary to win without even lifting a toe.
That's you, Dillard. Yeah.
Taurus rats make I don't even know what this word is. Taurus rats make redoubtable foes, as they hardly ever seem to take anything personally and never exhibit their vengeances publicly. You cannot really ever tell what they're thinking. All you do know is that they are thinking fast and efficiently. Yeah. Taurus rats have infallible memories, too. What may seem like a petty detail to any normal person, to the Taurus rat, a paramount fact. Names return to the lips after 10 years though they had never just seen the person yesterday. Taurians born in rat years are walking file cabinets. The Taurus rat is definitely a master and not a slave. Yet, if need be, he can appear to be enslaved, bat his eyelashes, and even titter in his corner if he knows it's necessary to reach his goal. I cannot go so far as to say he is ruthless, but almost.
Ruthless. Almost, Dillard. You're almost ruthless, Dillard. I think you should step up your game, bro.
Taurians born in rat years are protective of those they care about. They can show enormous generosity towards people they want to help, although the Taurus rat is inclined to help only those who help themselves. The Taurus rat carries himself with dignity, behaves impeccably in company, and appreciates good manners in others. It is obvious wherever he is that he is the one around whom everyone is in his vicinity gravitates. Taurus rats look as if they have, quote, got it together. But if you penetrate a bit deeper, you'll note a hidden spark of fun-loving cha-cha-cha. Unless you are part of the Taurus rat select entourage, however, you may never get to share in any of the secret playfulness.
Yeah. I get you, Dillard.
That's Dillard.
I get you.
Yeah, all of that is me.
That was like probably the most accurate one so far.
Really, 100% of it?
Yeah, 100% of it, yeah.
So far. Keep going.
Unless there's more. But if that's it, then that's 100% correct. Yes,
that was like the overall outline. Then it does go into like breaking like it down into certain things. Like what were we? Sorry, shit, I forgot. Taurus rat, right?
Yeah, Dillard is swell. That's where you were.
Okay, hold on. Let me get back to it. As I close the book.
So
I always thought that
an 85 to 90% accuracy because
that was 100% accurate.
My Gemini snake.
Okay, here, like compatibility. Right?
You're saying, Dillard, yours is 100%.
Compatibility. This is more in depth on compatibilities. I see you with a strong but gentle Pisces ox or tiger, but you could very well make it with Cancer, Virgo, or Capricorn monkey and pigs. The ox gives you competition, but you don't mind that so long as he or she doesn't thwart your power trip.
Ox. I was thinking the ox.
Horses don't work for rats, but you should particularly shun Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius horses. Cats are too cool to keep you fascinated forever. They annoy you with their eternal reserve. Aquarius cats unnerve you the most. They're so calmly clever.
My wife is
you don't like cats.
My wife is a Capricorn.
A Capricorn? What? Chinese? What year was she born?
Same year as me.
So
a rat. Capricorn rat.
Well, it doesn't say anything. Usually, similar signs are good together, and then As far as the Western, Cancer, Virgo, or Capricorn are your best matches. So yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, well done, Dillard.
Profession.
Yes, I know.
100% so far. All right, yeah.
There are few professions close to this sturdy, bright nature. The Taurasian-born rat is gifted for all jobs that require a strong sense of duty combined with exertion of power. He likes money and is able to keep thousands of facts in his head at once and concentrate on at least 5 different pursuits at a time. Taurus rats are those people you see with 4 telephone receivers under their chin, signing documents on their desk and discussing a deal with a client in their
That's
office.
a good image. When was this book
Multifaceted
written?
and not 86, not for
Okay.
a minute superficial. I would say that as an employee, Taurus rat will only be biding his time till he can come to become the boss. This is a
Oh
pragmatic.
my God, this is 100% accurate.
This is
I am a
a
terrible employee.
This is a pragmatic person whose common sense far outweighs his urge for spontaneity. Taurus rats do make very hard driving bosses, but their employees respect and like them and will rush around handing them things and making them tea. The
How
natural
many people do
superiority
you boss around, Dillard?
superiority is undeniable in his character. He will always maintain dignity and distance with his employees, but he's not afraid to smile and say thanks.
Oh, you're not in my back rooms, in my off airs when I have campaigns going. I am a friendly boss. I give people marching orders.
How many people do you employ?
4.
Okay. And you get a 4 out of 4 star rating, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%, bro.
Home and family. Let's see if this
Oh my
lives up.
gosh.
The Taurus rat's home will be, first of all, traditional. Even if the lamps seem little on the ultra modern side and the chairs smack of some posh up to the minute designer's deft hand, look at the Louis XV commode over against the wall, and on its marble top, copies of publications read only by top drawer people with good taste in everything.
All of my furniture have claw feet.
The family life will even though Taurus rat is so frequently away at work, revolve around the Taurian-born rat member of the family. It is always finally up to the bull rat whether the family summers in Maine or in Brittany. I guess that means you make the decisions. Sometimes this person who's writing this book gets a little verbose with their analogies.
They put in analogies where there's no need.
Yeah. It's not exactly
But they're still describing you to a T.
It is.
Correct.
It's not exactly egomaniacal despotism because Taurus rat gives space to those he loves and cares that they measure up to very high standards. Let's just say that Taurus rats like to deal with professionals and deplore amateurism of all sorts. A Taurus rat's childhood is meaningful in the extreme. You must first allow him to express opinions and draw his own conclusions. Taurus rats are frequently not the best students in the class. They are often bored by the triviality of school routines and prefer to approach study in their own steady, steely manner, independent of petty regulations. Frankly, rat Taurian kids know the rules down to the ground, but they'd rather work out some system of their own and often do.
Yeah.
Rat-Taurian. And also, Dillard, this book was written.
No lies detected.
This book was written in the 1980s,
Gross.
which makes it even more interesting. So this, I think you said,
Yeah, that was written before they even met.
yeah, you were born in 84. This book was written in 86.
Check this out. This one's short, but this is my professional. This is Pisces Dragon. Does the Pisces Dragon really want a profession? That is the question. I know this sounds insane in a world so drowning in the tenets of ambition and success, but unless I miss my mark, I feel that Pisceans born in the dragon years would rather sit back and watch the parade go by. They like activity. They are not lazy people, but there's something otherworldly about this character, something not involved. I reckon his best shot is independent work, but then he'll need a watcher and a guide.
Yeah.
It's useless to talk to this person. It's useless to talk of this person as boss. he can get to be a boss by inheritance or fluke, which every time I was a boss, that's usually how it happened. I didn't aim for the job. But although he can be bossy, I cannot imagine him seriously coveting the head honcho's job. Too much flack. Of course, the Pisces dragon can be employed, but he'll want a job that gives him room to breathe and not too much direction all at once. Kind of like a bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Just a bartender, bro. That's all.
yeah. This book is scary accurate.
It
Scary
is
accurate. Yeah.
What's it called?
How do I use this to manipulate and take advantage of people?
That's a good question.
Basically, yours says you do that naturally anyway.
You-
Dillard. That's basically what yours said. Haldir wants to know
weaponize
about
this
Aries
wisdom.
Monkey. Hold on.
So you remember that scene from Tombstone where Johnny Ringo is in the street and he's like, I want him spitting blood. He's all drunk and he wants to shoot Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
And he says, and Wyatt Earp says, not gonna fight you, Ringo. No money in it.
Money in it. I'm not gonna fight you. There's no money in it.
God, I can't be fucked to do anything unless there's like some money in it for me.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna read this one, then I gotta go to bed. This is for Haldir.
All right, before you go to bed, I just want to point out and read that Critical Drinker was struck by HBO
Oh no.
for his review of The Last of Us.
I hope he's okay.
Like taken down, struck.
Yeah.
Oh, struck across the face.
Oh, just the video was taken
gauntlet.
down, not the channel. Okay, Aries Monkey. Talkers, one and all, Aries monkeys are amongst the finest, most forthright people around. If you ever get to know one and then leave
God
her or
of
him
War is a
behind,
monkey.
I believe your most intense souvenir of his or her personality will be the things he or she said. Aries monkeys are noted for their directness in speech. They can talk your leg off, but they are almost never boring. Bright and garrulous, Aries monkeys are also gifted with the ability to feel for others. They have built-in compassion and truly care for those they love. Coupled with the wit and intelligence of a monkey nature, this Aries subject's drive is unbeatably attractive. You sometimes feel as though you can't turn this person off, that inside somewhere your Aries monkey friend carries a turned-on radio talk show in his or her own head. This garrulity can be exhausting for the listener. Aries monkeys are not exempt from repetition for the sake of emphasis. There comes a moment when you
Oh my God, this is Haldir to a T.
There comes a moment when you might want to flick the switch and hear something silent that ensues. There is little an Aries monkey can do that won't lead to success. Accomplishment is the person's middle name. They are not exactly your average hard-driving killer scrambler, elbow to the others out of the way, get-ahead achievers either. That was way too many hyphens in one sentence.
Yeah.
No, Aries monkeys achieve in areas where they choose to excel. They are not compelled by gain or social approbation. Instead, they want to do well for themselves.
I'm sorry, I'm listening to Dark Gift read, and I was listening to myself read on the Am I the Asshole episode I did last Friday. And then I was listening to Darren read. Now, Darren is a writer, and Darren reads incredibly slow and incorrectly, yet knows way more words than me, and can read and pronounce words better than I.
But just can't spell them.
But he can't fucking read out loud to somebody. What is that?
I don't know.
Did you notice that? Did anybody else notice that?
I did notice
This
that.
man will fucking run circles around me in terms of vocabulary, but he can't read out loud. What the fuck?
Oh, man.
Anyway, go on.
Aries monkeys have second sight. They can see around corners. This sign endows its owners with an uncanny ability to judge the worth and wiles of others. I've seen Aries monkeys cut through more bunk than 12 brand new razor blades.
Yeah.
Watch them. When they are confronted with a new acquaintance, Aries monkeys are pleasant and polite and nod their simian little heads. Yes, I see. While the other person is blathering away a mile a minute. Afterwards, when the new person leaves and you are alone with your Aries monkey, he or she will eye you, gauge your approachability, and then say, "Did you see that guy who just left? Yes, you saw him. What about him?" And here comes the good part. Aries Monkey pulls up his worry frame and leans over to your ear, and in a confidential pose, "That man is a charlatan," says the Aries Monkey. "He told me he had gone to Yale, but he'd never heard of old Eli, and the name of his dormitory was Holiday Inn." It's hard to fool the cunning Aries Monkey. Obviously, the Aries trait of naivety is compromised by the monkey's extreme guile. And it's a good thing. A skeptical Aries is a happy Aries. The Aries Monkey is also a firm individualist. Although gregarious, this person is capable of solitary forays inside himself once he is sure to dredge up many smart ideas. Aries monkeys can study hard and achieve excellent results where application and derriere to seat the chair is a prerequisite. They are patient, not slow and deliberately patient, but patient nonetheless. Aries monkeys go out of their way to be seductive and charming. If they are not naturally attractive, they get themselves up in ways that ensure appeal. They are what we used to call striking people, quote unquote, unforgettable. One of the pitfalls Aries monkeys must watch for is their excessive superstition. People born under the sign tend to be drawn to the mystical rather than the logical solution in an emotional dilemma. They must learn to consult those wiser and more down to earth than they. Aries monkeys are perfectly capable of heeding good counsel, but they must learn to go out and seek it and not be afraid to appear foolish or untrained in an area at all. This person is able to assimilate anything, but sometimes he goes looking for knowledge in the wrong places. The Aries monkey is basically balanced and stable, but little creeping superstitions, doubts can creep in, which will temporarily flummox Aries monkeys, cause them to waste time in futile equivocation, and tire them uselessly.
Can we purchase this book online?
Yeah, you probably get it on Amazon right now.
Oh, that's cool. And it has every permutation of
it's called
the
it's called the
zodiac
New
and the
Astrology.
Chinese.
Yeah, here.
Interesting.
That's not my
Every
camera.
permutation.
Where's my camera? There's my camera.
12
There
for
it is.
12. How many animals are there in the Chinese calendar?
12.
12. All right.
I just think it's interesting that in the 80s, like
12.
there was no
zodiac.
internet, there was
They have
no,
all the permutations.
and this guy was able to like clearly. Is there a lot of does he praise anyone in the prologue, whatever you in the? Does he have like a source?
What the she that wrote
Or
it?
she?
Let's see. Dedication. This book is dedicated to
Dedication.
my mother, who sadly died earlier this year. Blah blah blah. My brothers, my niece.
So nobody special. Interesting.
It's a very long list.
What's the artist or the author's name?
All right, DG, if you're leaving right now, I'm gonna have to say goodbye to you. If you're gonna stay on, J Dollar, I'll be back. But I just realized I did not buy the pack of cigarettes on the way back from the hospital that I thought I
God
did.
Darn it. You
So
have
I
to
have
go
to run.
get. Oh, how long?
I gotta
will
run
it
back to the store.
20,
Right.
30, 45 minutes.
Yeah, I have a good.
No,
one,
my
but
store
I'll
is
catch you later.
literally 3 minutes away.
No, that's better.
Yeah, we probably won't be streaming.
Well, I'll try to make it back in time, but if I don't, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
It's good
All
to
right,
talk
Mr.
to you
Dillard.
again, Dillard. Peace, Dillard.
Peace.
Anyway, who's the author's name?
Angry.
Suzanne White.
Of course she is.
Yeah, I'm looking to see. There wasn't anything in the dedication. Is there anything at the end? That's the reference chart.
And this bitch is old.
Robert, she wrote this when she was in 1986, so I mean, she's got to be up there now.
Yeah, she's 87 years old. So she grew up in France for a while. No information there.
Yeah, then it just says on the back, though the practice of astrology is many centuries old, it is only perhaps generation barely new, blah, blah, blah. For those convinced that there was nothing new under the sun or the stars, Suzanne White offers a startling and provocative thesis. There are not 12, but 144 signs of the zodiac, each distinct, each unique, each vital to everyone's quest. Sounds like she came up with this.
145 different ones. Wow, that's a lot. I mean, how much can you break
Okay, she's
down
okay. Here's something interesting. She's known as a high.
areas into?
She's known as a high priestess.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, in Chinese and Western astrology.
Interesting.
She
must have studied with some like higher ups, you know.
Yeah, she has a Sherpa. She had a Sherpa. That's why I was trying to find like who trained her. Because you only get like this hermetic type training, this astrological type training. You only get like there's certain people that like just do it for you, and usually they are able to give some type of information on the back. She doesn't even have a Wikipedia. Interesting.
The only other book that I ever found that was pretty accurate, not as accurate as this, but pretty accurate, was a book called The Secret Language of Astrology. And that was the one I was telling, I think you might have walked away, but I was telling Seven, where it breaks it down into like the 4 sections. So you have like Pisces 1, Pisces 2, Pisces 3.
Right, but do you
and the cusp, and it actually brings it down to the day. Like you were born on this day, like on a Saturday,
and then they can tell you about yourself.
Yeah, that was pretty accurate
and that
too. Because
a lot of what they say kind of applies to you, but then a lot of what they say really kind of
Well, by design, it's
I know, but
supposed to be encompassing. Like it hits 80% of me, but not 100%. It hits 100% of Dillard, you know, type. So,
right. But
there's something to it.
But that one was pretty interesting to me, only because, like I said, me and my best friend, who have known each other since the 6th grade, our birthdays are a day apart, and we're so much alike, but we're so different. And I was like, you know, with like when you're younger and you're hearing about like astrology and stuff, and you're like, well, how is that? You know, obviously there's nature and nurture and stuff like that, but how is there these like drastic differences when we're both Pisces and we're only a day apart? Like, you know,
because it's meaningless whether.
Right. But when you read this other book where it breaks it down, no, but when you read this other book and it breaks it down to the day,
because the personality,
it nails him and it nails me. It's so weird. Yeah, it's weird. And these are the only 2 books that I've ever read that like got me a little convinced that like maybe there's something to it, because everything else I've ever read on astrology has always been a little like, you know, like, you know. So
how many pages does the book have in it that you're reading from? How many pages?
One right now?
Yep. That you're giving us all these. This is fascinating. I love this
Okay,
shit.
I found some
How many
people that.
pages? Dark Gift. How many pages?
So authors.
1,880.
684.
Oh, I was.
So authors that she looks up to is Donna Tartt, Richard Ford, and Annie Proulx.
I think I heard of the last 2.
So Annie Proulx is a Connecticut woman. Interesting. Okay, so we'll share a little bit of this. Like people, I always find it fascinating. Connecticut, French Canadian.
Families.
She came over on the Mayflower.
Shipping routes. Geopolitics, the familial connections. Isn't there a queen who was related to the Tsar and the king?
All right, well, I do have to jump off because now it's 4 in the morning and I got to work in the morning.
Peace, Dark Gift. Peace. Good.
You guys have a good one.
Good
I'll catch
talking to you.
You
Bye.
too.
Later, bro. Another science fiction writer. So she's definitely into the... I don't know. I just don't see how so long ago they were able to do that. It's just very interesting. And Richard Ford.
Richard Ford. Who is that?
He started writing at the same time. Oh, he wrote Independence Day? Oh, not what I was thinking. Nothing fancy. They just somehow knew.
So, are you going to do a cartwheel tomorrow?
A cartwheel? Yeah, that's fine.
Huh? Are you?
Yeah, that's fine.
The next day. Just one.
Yeah, I can do cartwheels. It's fine. I can't do no backflips or none of that.
Well, I can't either. I will. I think I can. How hard can it be to do a backflip when you're 60 years old?
I don't know. All right, we got anything else to talk about? I'm starting to get sleepy.
No, I think you should end the stream right now.
It's 3 a.m.
Right? It's good talking to you, Gay Dollar.
Let's do the Vatican thing tomorrow.
I enjoyed your company. Maybe not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow. No. I got something interesting before we go. My nephew, my cousin James, his son, just graduated from some really
The Vatican?
No, some really popular military college. I think it's
The
in the
one in
Marine.
Virginia.
Yeah. Anyway, it's in Virginia. He graduated, but they're doing their ceremony down here. So I'm gonna go see his ass. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Cool. I have 18 nieces and nephews.
It's about time someone in our family
Yeah.
from our kids' generation joined the military.
Finally.